Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to the Virtual Rec podcast. I'm Mac in VR, and we have our usual Indie VR here, and we have a very, very special guest who I shall let introduce himself. So we'll start in the usual way. I'm drinking a nice Staropramen. Nice beer. I have been playing mostly Automobilista 2 after the version 1.5 update. That's been really good. I've been playing Dead Second on my Pico 4, Primal Hunt on my Pico 4, and that's basically it. I've basically been playing AMS2, and that's about it. So, yeah. I know AMS2's been out for a while, but there you go. Right, so Indy, my friend, what are you drinking, and what have you been playing?
As always, I am prepared, and possibly see through water. What have I been playing? So, it's been 2 weeks. So let's start with. No, nothing wants to work. Just loads of different games.
I'm not coming back if this keeps happening. I'll tell you now.
Yeah, it's not working. So So I've been playing VR games, and most of them are indie games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Loaded. But yeah, I'd like to introduce our guest today. 3131. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, sir. How are we all? We're all doing well?
Yes, we're great. How are you?
Good. I'm all right. I've had a really good week, actually. Really nice weekend as well. Yeah, me then, I guess. Yeah, Buck is what everyone calls me. That's actually just my nickname from when I was growing up. Been streaming VR since 2019. Started with the PSVR 1. Then ventured into PC, fell down the rabbit hole basically, and ended up spending far too much money on VR than anyone else. Ended up doing that and just kept streaming there. Still host a monthly race night where we do at the moment. So we used to run a set of Corsair on PC, and that was originally Zemtok 5. Used to run that, and then he handed it over to me, and I ran it for a year. I had a little server set up with like 50 different setups that we could all log into and race. And now we've moved it to GT7 because it's just a lot easier to manage for everyone. And that was yesterday, was our last race night. It was really good fun. So we had about like 3 hours worth of all different races doing that sort of stuff. But yeah, I spent a lot of time doing a lot of live stuff. I use live a lot with stuff, did some interesting things with that and different things. I played pistol whip on a bike, cycling through the levels one time to try something different. It was really annoying because I did it thinking, what's no one done? What can be different? So I dragged the exercise bike into the lounge and set it all up and put it brilliant. And I was like, that's brilliant. No one's done that before. And the next day, Anna Byrne did a stream where she stood there in roller skates. And I was like, that's so much easier. But yeah, that's me. So yeah, I've done fair amount of streaming. To be fair, I haven't really streamed anything properly for about 6 months because nothing has really made me want to get back out there and show stuff. Apart from the beginning of this month, I did one stream, which was Synapse. So the stuff, as you two are saying about what I've been playing recently, has been GT7, Synapse, and over the weekend, I actually played From Other Suns. Which is an old school VR game, but still holds up.
Really?
We were playing it. So I was playing with Dr. Oculus and Paul at the VR Realm.
Oh yeah.
It still looks great. It still plays really well. And it was like, man, why haven't they re-released this?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you know From Other Suns, Indy?
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I've had it in my Steam library for years, and I've been meaning to stream it.
I don't think you've had it in your Steam library because it's an Oculus only.
Oh, I'm thinking of another one. Journey. Okay.
You are.
Yeah.
Yes. No, From Other Suns, it's essentially Faster Than Light, but in VR. But you can run around your ship and board other ships and jump between stuff. It's really, really, really good. It's a lot like Pulsar Lost Colony, but it's a much more polished version of that. But yeah, we were like, and we're going back because we were like, this was good, and we didn't finish a run, so we're like, we're going back. I may have inadvertently destroyed the Earth within 5 minutes of us first playing, and then I remembered how to play it, so we started again.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I've had that on my wish list for ages, just finding people to play with. But I know exactly what that is because I watched other videos on it as well. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a classic in the VR world. It's one that not a lot of people know about as well. It's quite surprising, but no, it's really, really good.
Imagine Oculus having little hidden gems like, say, Lone Echo and Asgard's Wrath. And what was the robot shooter? That one that was really good.
I'm wearing a black armband today because.
Oh, of course, yes. It's one of the things we actually wanted to talk about. So. Right, I'm just going to like a little aside before we get back. So Mark Zuckerberg made a big thing last year about being able to buy a Balenciaga motorbike jacket for your avatar, and, you know, buying like sort of all this designer gear for your avatar and all this sort of stuff. So you're spending real world money on digital items. That's fair enough. What happens when they shut it down? What happens when they shut it down?
Those items.
Like what they did to Lone Echo.
Yeah.
All those players who spent all that time and money, you know, blinging their characters out and, you know, building the community and all that sort of stuff.
That's the issue with live service games, though. And that's not just VR, that's any live service game. You've only got to look at things like Anthem, that were around for like 2 weeks and then died a complete death. And they said, here's our roadmap for the next 3 years. Destiny's a good example, but Destiny's held people's interest because they keep adding stuff to it.
I was a massive fan of Destiny, and all my friends who played Destiny transferred to Anthem and then transferred straight back to Destiny because Anthem was just terrible. It was just terrible.
But again, the gaming companies don't want some of your money, they want all of your money. And the way we do that is we're having a game that you have to constantly log back into and keep playing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And they even have systems, and I saw a presentation about this, it's really interesting. So if there is a new cosmetic thing, they will match you with people that have that so that you will get to see it. If you don't have it, so you go, oh, I want that. It's really predatory.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The way that it works.
Destiny, I mean, I was a massive fan of Destiny. I mean, we played the hell out of the first game. We actually used to have Destiny Tuesday. We used to sit there and wait for the reset, and then we do all of our raids, do all of our nights. What was the weekly one?
But
called?
that's the problem. You had to keep doing it. You couldn't sit back. It's like Call of Duty as well. So I can't play that online because I'll get my ass handed to me by a 14-year-old Korean. Because that kid does nothing but play Call of Duty. Yeah, and I have like some spare time and I can't get to that level. So there's no point me doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is somebody, like a 56-year-old man here who has been playing Warzone DMZ quite a lot recently. And I do get my ass handed to me quite often. Yeah. Sorry.
And I don't play games for that. I like to have fun.
Yeah. This is why I think cooperative games like After the Fall work so well, which is something else we're coming
From Other Suns.
From Other Suns. Right. So Rudy Vazedno has just pointed out in my chat that there is a humble bundle currently which contains Automobilista, Assetto Corsa Ultimate, and Assetto Corsa Competizione, plus R Factor and something else.
Yeah.
All for...
It's a racing bundle.
It's a racing bundle, and you can get it for...
And 4 of the games.
Yeah, you can get it for like... well, it depends how much you want to pay. You can pay £20, you can pay £100 if you want to. It's up
the minimum you can pay is £10 to get all of them. I had a look at it the other day.
All right. I think I actually bought this because I already have all these games, but I can give those keys away. So, yeah, I bought it for £20. So, yeah, that's a great bundle. Right, so going back to our original point, which was we were getting our asses handed to us by 14-year-old Koreans. And then what did we talk about? It's the Dementia Podcast.
Where am I?
I'm just a guest. I'm just going where you lead me.
Where's my dinner?
Why is everybody looking at me? Where are my trousers?
I'm 46, you know.
Oh, you young whippersnappers.
If we can just Twitch. So in Indy's chat, actually, Slightly Ambitious Games has said, "Hey, I'm a game dev currently working on my first game, but always looking ahead. What do you think is a game the majority of people actually want?" The answer to that, unfortunately, is Candy Crush,
Yeah.
because that's what the majority of people, again,
In VR, Gorilla Tag.
yeah. And
Well,
honestly,
yeah.
I hate Gorilla Tag. I loathe it like this, but
I've
I'm
never
really
tried it.
glad other people like it, and that's fine. But I can't stand it. But that there's no answer to that question.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants different
Everyone wants
things. So
something different.
what is it you want to play? Make the game you want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That, I mean, if you try and make Gorilla Tag Mark II, then that's not what you're feeling. But if you're really into sort of, I don't know, Halo or like 3D platformers, then go and make that in VR. I mean, all these genres work really well in VR. I mean, you've got Moss and you've got Lucky's Tale. They're like 3D platformers. They work really well. Got first-person shooters like Contractors and Pavlov. They work really well. Space shooters. There's a really good game at the moment called Guardians Frontline, and it's a kind of RTS, but you can play it. I really like it.
So I was one of the first people in the world to stream Guardians before it became Guardians Frontline. And they were at EGX when we were there.
Yes, they were.
That's when
Yeah,
we met.
they were. Yes.
And I tried it there, and my first impression was, what have you been doing for the last year? Because this isn't any different, which is a bit worrying.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I like the idea of Guardians. I think it's a really, again, this is the other thing you need to focus on if you're making it. What's your USP? What's your unique selling point?
Yeah.
What are you doing that no one else is doing? That's what you need to find the hook. And that's the same for a streamer.
Yeah.
What are you doing that's different to
absolutely,
everyone else? Why are people going to play your thing or watch your stuff rather than anyone else?
Because they like looking at an old fella who can't remember what his name is.
But if that's your USP, then if it's VR and dementia, then excellent. But
it's VR and something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. Something like that.
My wife. Yes, my wife says I have two main issues. One, I don't listen, and something else. Yeah.
But that was my problem. Is I was always like trying to find what's the most stupid thing that I could do. And the problem is you run out of ideas. You can't keep that pace up.
Yeah.
It's tough.
You just find your niche.
But again, he doesn't say whether he's making a VR game or whether it's a regular game.
Virtual.
And it's like, so in VR, there's like a few things. It's like, don't ever fade to black. Ever. Don't do that. Takes me out of it completely. Yeah. Make sure I can swap the analog sticks so that one is, they're doing whatever they want because I'm left-handed. Again, it's all about accessibility.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've got a friend called Crash who, he's a Dutch guy, and he has exactly that problem. He's left-handed, but apart from being Dutch.
I am.
Yeah.
But the thing is you don't think about these things if you're not left-handed. And it's not about being left-handed. It's like some people don't have two hands. Some people only have one hand.
Yeah, of course.
So how do they play stuff? And I always say, if you want to work out how to make that, go and look at Half-Life Alyx. You can play that entire game with one hand.
That is a great game. We had the same problem. Me and Indy were playing a game called Rotten Apple. And I was the very first person to play it on a Pico 4. And the guns were in a weird position. So the developers were like, oh, that's really handy. That's something we need to know. So if you're going to make a game and you think, all right, well, Quest is the biggest selling headset. I need to make my game for Quest. But there are going to be other people who are going to play your game, like people who have Pico 3s, people who have Pico 4s, people who have Valve Indexes, HTCs. You need to... Like, one of the problems that you came across, Serge, as an indie guy, was that people didn't optimize their games for the Valve Index, even though it's the second biggest selling headset after the Quest 2.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Steam usage. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry for you.
Dementia. Yeah. A lot of developers didn't used to do it in the past, but recently I've been surprised at how many are actually doing it. Before it was like you'd have to. Does it work for the index? And they'll be like, "Oh, I'll come back to you in a few weeks when I sort it out." Or or they try to. At least they try. Sometimes it doesn't work. Like the grip the grip strength, you got to pretty much crush your controller in your hand. But it's like,
but you can change that yourself.
yeah.
You can go
Yeah.
into the Steam settings and change
Yeah.
yourself, but you shouldn't have to. But the
Yeah.
option is there. So
yeah.
It's like, I mean, we were quite heavily involved in the initial stages of Ghosts of Tabor. We were on the Discord. You know, we got into the it was like the early access. This was like way before it was like a public beta. And I was like, oh, it doesn't work. And he was like, why? What's wrong? I said, I'm using virtual desktop. What's that? Oh, God, you're fucking joking.
Which, to be fair, if you haven't ever used it before, then fair enough. But at the same point, most people in the VR space know what virtual desktop
If
is.
you've got a Quest 2 and you don't use virtual desktop, you are missing out on basically the easiest way to play wireless PC VR.
I have a Quest 2 and I don't use virtual desktop.
Murmur Index.
Is that because you have to pay for virtual desktop?
No, I have it on the Quest 2.
Okay.
I use my Index. I just prefer it.
Yeah, I don't. I've never attached my Quest 2 to my PC. I've
Yeah.
always used my Index.
I have
There you go, Mac.
admitted on several occasions that I do regret selling my Valve Index because that was a great headset.
Shame.
It is the only headset that I've ever owned, except for the PlayStation ones, that I've never had to buy anything else to make it comfortable.
Exactly. And that's why I refuse to buy all this Quest 2 accessories and shit.
So I cheated because I had a Vive originally, and I had the Vive audio strap.
Yes.
So I've got that on my Quest 2.
Oh, the Franken Quest, yeah.
Yeah, I can show you if you want.
Because that isn't a blue green screen, you know. That's actually a real.
This is real.
You may see a bit of.
But we can change it. So yeah, you can see there's
Oh yeah, cool.
the audio strap, and the nice thing is it's got the headphones built in.
Yeah,
It's nice and comfortable. You can lock it in like you can, at the back with that sort of stuff.
yeah.
If anyone had seen the film Dune, if you put it that way,
Oh
you
yeah.
can see them wearing it in the film.
Oh,
When they're
that's
in
weird.
the ships, you can see it on the back of their head. They're wearing these. They've turned them upside down and using them. But yeah, I've got that. So that's just nice and comfortable for me. No extra battery, obviously, but
No, Slow Coach Surge does not have the same microphone as me. He completely ignored my advice and decided to go with something else. But at least
Yeah.
his microphone's working and his camera looks
Because
good.
I'm not do what everyone else does wanker. That's why.
What you mean buy something that everybody else thinks is really good?
Yeah. I'd rather go do my own research and find something different, you know.
Okay.
I only buy British, which is why my house is full of second-rate shite. Isn't it? So,
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh. Right. Okay. Moving along swiftly. Quest Pro has been discontinued. Discuss.
it was dead on arrival, wasn't it? Just from the price.
Yeah.
Really?
We've talked about this, and we actually only know one person that bought it. We know several people who've got one, like Paradise has got one.
I've used one. I have
Okay.
used one.
Yeah.
So Mr. Hibbins, John Hibbins from Cytec Games, who
Lovely
has
man.
like every headset known to man. He had one, and last time I was down there, he was like, "Oh, do you want to have a look?" It's like, "Yeah, cool." Pass-through is really nice, very clear. Pancake lenses are lovely. It's very comfortable. For the short amount of time that I played it,
Yeah.
so I can't say from a long time. But the price was just like, and also it wasn't built for games. That's not what it was built for.
No,
It was
it
built
isn't,
the
no.
same way Apple's new thing. Apple's thing is not built for games.
No.
Apple's is built to sit down and use your Mac and watch a film and all that sort of stuff. It's not a VR headset. And the fact that they never said VR in their entire
No.
presentation for the Apple headset tells you that.
But
spatial computing
the
now.
Quest Pro, the
Mhm.
productivity software apparently wasn't compatible with
No.
anything. So why
It
would
wasn't
you?
there.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you?
It
Why
was
would you buy
close,
it for
but no
quali-
cigar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, just in case anybody
Whereas-
thinks this is clickbait, the Quest Pro has not been discontinued. There has been a change of supplier, which has made
Yeah.
people think that it is being discontinued. But I think quietly they're going to build out as many as they can, and then it's going to fade away, because I have heard that they sold as little as 50,000 units. And if you take into account the people I know who've got one, which is 5, and only one of them bought one.
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, we're looking at you, my friend.
There is someone else back. There is. I don't know. I can't remember who though. There's one more.
It is a good headset.
It might be Mo-Beast.
To be fair, it is a good headset, but it doesn't justify its price.
Yeah.
Whereas the Apple one does justify its price just because of the tech that's inside it, not its use case, in my opinion.
Actually,
the tech inside one of those is the same as a high-end MacBook, which will cost you the same price.
So Walking Dead, who is actually the person that we know who has one, he said the Quest Pro lenses are really good, and the controllers are awesome. Now, I was very, very tempted to actually buy the Pro controllers because they are going to be compatible with the Quest 3 as well.
So the Pro controllers that came with the Quest Pro, they're very good until they're not. And I've heard a lot of them going wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
What sort of problems?
Just drifting, not centering, and that, because they have cameras on them, don't they? The same way the headset does. That's how it tracks everything.
They've got 3 cameras on each one.
And also battery life on them is like next to nothing.
Brief,
because it's trying to run all of that as well. So again, it's use case. That's what you have to think about. It's like, is it what you want? Does it work for you? Because it's like, I don't care what headset anyone uses. If you've got a headset and you're happy with it, excellent, really happy for you. I know what I like. I'll stick with that. But I'm not going to tell anyone else what they should or shouldn't do.
Yeah. Okay.
But buy an Index because they're really good.
They are. And I just, what? I mean, it's typical Valve, this Deckard thing that now that sadly it's Bradley's gone very quiet about it because he's obviously lost his contact in the supply chain.
I suspect the Valve shutters came down and Gaben's assassination squad came out on that one.
Yeah.
But
go on. Sorry.
I was just going to say, it was 2 years ago, to pretty much now, that I bought my Valve Index.
Yeah, you bought your Index late, didn't you?
I bought it 2 years ago, and everyone was saying the same shit. Oh, the Deckard. 2 years later, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Valve. Valve announced shortest delay ever for one of their games, and it's like that tells you all you need to know about Valve. They take their time. Also, Valve is in short of money. They don't have to make games. They don't have to make equipment. They are the leading market space for everyone who wants to buy PC games because it works. So everyone uses it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, the Valve Index was ahead of its time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I piecemealed mine in. So I had a Vive and then a Vive Pro, and then that was using the old Vive controllers. Yeah. You remember those?
Yes.
Have you seen those, Indy? Do you remember those?
Yeah,
the ones. Yeah, so I used those. I've had those, and then I bought the Index controllers because they worked with the headset, and then I bought the Index headset later. So I bought it in chunks to get into it. It was an easy way of getting it in rather than just dropping $1,000. Because that is the thing with the thing, it's $1,000.
Yeah, and it's never ever dropped in price.
No.
Well, to be fair, the sales of the Valve Index have stayed steady until recently, when they've sort of tailed off a little bit. But hey, tried Grey Wolf. Tribe Grey Wolf's in your chat. I think Skeever's in your chat as well, somewhere.
He is.
Yeah. He's lurking. I don't know how an 8-foot tall man can lurk, but he's definitely lurking.
He's 9'7", actually.
I don't think Skeever. He is. I've never met the guy, but I think he just stands closer to the camera than everyone else, and he's actually.
He has short friends, and he stands closer. It's like the way they filmed the Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Nothing like a good pair of high heels, eh?
I mean, what you do at the weekend is up to you, mate. I don't mind. So it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so Quest Pro has not been discontinued. It's just probably going to be left to die Because
The other thing as well, you look at the price on that, and then you look at the specs of the Quest 3, and it's like half the price and does the same thing, if not more. Why would I bother?
It doesn't have is the eye tracking, which oh god, eye tracking. Eye tracking on Synapse is unbelievable. I mean, I've streamed it. You streamed it, Indy. You've played it. You live streamed it as well, didn't you? It is so good. It's
the thing I'll say about Synapse is essentially it's just a wave shooter. Okay. And wave shooters traditionally in VR have a bit of a bad rap. But it's an incredibly polished wave shooter with excellent mechanics that let you forgive all of that and forget about it. Because in traditional VR gaming, if you're doing telekinesis, as you do in most of them, you have to aim with your hand, and it's not always easy to do. Sometimes it takes a little to lock onto what you want. But the secret sauce that this game has is the eye tracking of the PSVR, and you're just looking at what you've done. And they've also done a really clever thing in the game with the color design. So the game is all monochrome, but when you're looking at something that it lights up a different bright color. So you know that what you're looking at is what you're looking at. It's a really clever, simple design choice, but it works incredibly well. I also like the way that
it just feels natural. You don't even think about it. It's just natural.
It's like the first time I saw one of those bloody angels, I looked at it and then grabbed it and pulled it, and it was squealing and squirming around on the ground. I was like, that's really cool. Here, have some machine gun bullets to the head. So it's just stuff like that. It's like little, and the fact that later on you could actually push and pull as well. So you could you had an exploding barrel.
Provided you unlock it,
you could push it out to where you wanted it to explode. So,
I'm really interested to see what else other developers come up with using the eye tracking, because we've got the don't blink in Switchback, and stuff.
I've never played Switchback actually.
I haven't either.
I've heard it's massively improved since the update.
What's the don't blink part?
So there's a section of Switchback where it has mannequins, and and every time you blink, the mannequin's changing, get closer.
So it's like
like a horror film. It looks fucking terrifying. To be fair,
it's like the angels in Doctor Who.
Yeah, it's that.
Yeah, it's that basically. The angels, they're like angels, and then you look away and you look back, and they're like,
The cart you're in rolls up to a door, and on the door it says "Don't blink." And as it opens, there's all mannequins inside, and every time you blink, they get closer and stuff.
Okay,
no thanks.
I'm going to poke him out. Thank you very much. That's not very good.
I'm about 2/3 in into the game. I didn't get to finish it because I had to send my as everyone knows, the PlayStation to Backle.
I was just about to ask you about this. Right, so my PlayStation VR 2 is okay. Buck, I'm assuming yours is okay.
Oh yeah, mine's been grand.
Okay, so
because you were sending yours back, I believe. Is that right?
So Indy's found a dead pixel. So tell us about your ongoing trauma.
So I found a dead pixel, my original one, which is about here in the eye, and send it back. You can only see it in loading screens if you look down. Got another one, dead pixels here, and you can see it more now when it's in a loading screen. In game, you can't see it unless you really look for it, but it's a £500 headset, and
no, you paid for one without a dead pixel. Send it back.
It's 2 weeks, another 2 bloody weeks though. That's just
but annoying. It's 2 weeks that you'll get a decent one.
So, but what's launching in 2 weeks?
Everything.
Yes.
No. If I send it back now, I should be good. I should be good. The problem is, they will give me a refund, right? And then I thought, all right, I'll get it from Argos.
Who did you buy? Who did you buy it from? I mean, I know. I know, but tell everybody else.
Yeah. Game. I bought it from Game, and I didn't realize how bad they had gotten over the years because I haven't been there for like 10 years. It used to be
because there aren't any Game stores anymore. That's why.
That's right. Yeah,
shut down.
And so I could do the refund.
Honestly, get a refund, go and buy it in Argos.
I was literally, this is what I was going to say. Right. So I spoke to Argos today, and I was messaging them saying, look, I've had this dead pixel problem. if I go to Argos, because it's instant, I don't have to wait 2 weeks. I said to them, "Can I switch it over?" And do you know what they said to me? They go, "No, we'd have to send it to our experts to have a look at because it doesn't apply to electrical goods."
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
I would definitely get it sent back. Though you paid for a working headset, you don't have
Exactly,
a
yeah.
working headset. Sort it out. Interesting. Someone. So you were saying what's coming out in 2 weeks, which is Firewall. Someone in chat was saying Parasite was saying about doesn't Firewall use eye tracking for the weapon wheel? Yes, it does. You press the button, you look at what weapon you want, you let go of the button, then the weapon changes. That's
Which
how
is
you
cool.
swap your weapons in that. It is. I'm intrigued to see how that's going to work.
Right. Okay. So I never had a PSVR, but you played a lot of Firewall. You played a lot of Firewall 0 hour, didn't you?
Ultra. Firewall 0 hour.
Yeah.
I played an awful lot.
Okay. So are you excited for Fire? Well, we know there's an elephant in the room, which is coming out about 5 days later.
About a week after, isn't it?
But can we? Are you excited for Firewall Ultra being a Firewall 0 hour mega player?
Right. Now, what's the best way to describe it? So, on the PlayStation VR 1, it was the only thing you could play. It was the only shooter that you could play, really.
Right, okay.
There wasn't really anything else. And it used the aim controller as well. So you actually physically had a gun that you were holding.
And it worked.
And it worked. And it worked really well. You get a bit of drift, but that's PSVR 1 anyway, and you can reset it very easily. No problem at all. I loved it. Played it constantly. When I bought it, they had trouble with the servers. So the first time I logged in, I timed it 3 hours in a lobby trying to work it out. And then I looked online and went, "Oh, there's a problem." So right, let's ignore that. But we'll come back to it when it's all fixed. But one of the best PvP games that I played. Loved it. It worked. It needed a bit of flow fixing. You would have to wait between games a bit much, and it seems like they've listened and they've sorted that from what they've been saying.
Okay.
The thing that does concern me is from the footage that I've seen, it looks like they're still thinking in PSVR 1 terms rather than PSVR 2 terms. And the reason I say that is for grenades, I've seen you hold a button and you see an arc and then let go. And I'm like, no, I want to throw a grenade.
Yeah.
Again, it's old school, and it's kind of like it's button reloading, and it's like when you got the aim controller, I understand that. The one thing I always wanted the aim controller to have was a button on the bottom, so you could just slam, and that's reloading. That would have just been perfect. That would have been. I always wanted that to the point where I tried to design something to make it do it, but that would have been really good. So there's a lot of things that I'm seeing with Firewall where I'm thinking, I'm not sure you've brought this up to what we can do now, and that concerns me.
Yeah. So I can understand button press reloads in a fast-paced shooter like After the Fall, where
it should be a choice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and in After the Fall it is a choice. You can do manual reloads, or you can do the tap the chest reload. And when you've got hundreds of zombies running towards you, tap the chest reload is,
no,
that's
you do
what
a manually reload like a real man. Damn it!
And never
I remember.
Sorry, Indy, carry.
What you said?
No, you carry on, mate.
No, I remember we were playing After the Fall.
Population 1.
And then we went into Population 1, and it was like clutch, and it was down to Mac, and he had the guy dead to rights, and then he got the gun like this and put it to his chest.
Oh no! And your muscle memory kicked in,
and it's on a string because we've been playing like After the Fall for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and I had this guy, and I was like, "Brrr, why is my gun reloaded?"
So the other thing that I mentioned as well is on the PSVR, there wasn't anything else like it. Now on PSVR 2, you've got Pavlov.
Yeah.
You've got, the Crossfire, which admittedly is not strictly the same, but it's you didn't have anything else. So there wasn't anything else to play. So it kind of had the market sewn up, which is why it did so well. And I'm kind of like, hopefully they've listened, because I know a lot of people have said the same thing about this. And it's kind of like, hopefully it's just going to be a choice, and but there's certain things I've seen that make me go, oh, a bit worried about that. but we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic. Let's put it that way.
Can I just ask Tribe Grey Wolf to stop laughing at me in Indy's chat?
I did notice that.
It's not funny, Tribe. I'm an old man. You should respect your elders. I don't know. Yeah. So, Ian Higton from from Eurogamer. He was a massive Firewall 0 Hour fan, and he got access. I think he went to the studio and he actually tried it, and he had a lot of the same concerns that you've just said. And he said, well, why isn't there manual reloading? Why isn't there like the ability to just pull the pin out of a grenade and throw it instead of the button press? I mean, I know that there's a reason that is done in Population 1, and Indy was one of the best grenade throwers I've ever seen. Those compilation grenade throw
suck
videos.
At throwing grenades in VR.
Oh, well, yeah, I do as well.
Press a button.
But exactly, Indy was so good in Population 1 at doing the button press, glide, throw the grenade, land, everybody's dead. Okay, let's move on.
That's the only thing I will say with the Index. If you have sweaty hands, letting go of stuff in an Index is not always possible because the competitive still thinks you're holding it.
The amount of times I died in Population 1 because I'd grab onto a rock as I was running past because my hands were sweating. Like, oh, what the... Yeah. But,
it just seems like they haven't moved with the technology. So they've gone, here's the eye tracking stuff, great. Here's everything in, the other thing that, and this is just a PSVR 2 thing in general, I would like to be able to choose between 90 native and 120 reprojected. Now, that's because I know what they are, but most people don't. They don't care about that. And I know I'm a niche of niche, so that's fine.
But I must admit, I played Gran Turismo 7 recently, and the reprojection has massively decreased. Yep. They've improved the... So if anybody doesn't understand what reprojection is, but perhaps could you explain it slightly better than me?
Okay. So basically, your graphics card or GPU, whether it be in a console or up in a game, can only create a certain amount of frames a second, right? So, and in VR, you generally want a minimum of 72 frames a second, and that's helps. And the more frames you have, the smoother it feels and the less motion sickness you will get. It's a big thing with motion sickness. So what reprojection does is it goes, okay, you want, so for an Index example, you can pick what frame rate you want. You can choose whether you want 90, 120, 144, and 80 as well, I think. So if I say, right, 90, but if my computer can't run 90, what will happen is it'll go, okay, I'm going to do 45, and I'm going to make up the other ones, is basically what it does. And it fills in those gaps to smooth it out. I'm very susceptible to reprojection. I can see it and I can feel it, and I don't like it. If I can get something at a solid 80 or 90 or 120, I'll run it at that. I spend, PC VR wise, I've spent a huge amount of time in games tweaking all the settings. So I'm like, that's a solid 90. I'm happy with that. Because if I get reprojection, and it's different for different games, and it's a really good way of seeing which games are optimized well and which ones aren't. And also, particularly with PC VR, it's very different for everyone because everyone has a different PC and everyone's got different builds. The thing with the console is everyone's got the same thing. So they know exactly what it can and what it can't do. So they can say, okay, we know we can hit 90, we'll do it native, or we'll make the choice to do 120, but we'll reproject. So it's actually doing 60 frames a second, which is what your normal games would do, but then filling in the other one. But what they also do in the PSVR 2 is they use something called foveated rendering, which is, it uses the eye tracking. So where you look, it enhances the pixel density of where you're looking and sharpens up that image. So your peripheral vision in the headset is blurry, but you don't notice because you're focused on the bit. That's how it can run as fast as it can, being a console. It's very clever.
It is. There's a really great video done by Linus Tech Tips where he gets his hands on the PSVR 2 and he has the TV and he has his mates sitting watching and he's playing Horizon Call of the Mountain and he says, can you tell me what I'm looking at? And they all go, yeah, that jar. And he's like, what? He's like, what am I looking at now? Oh, you're looking at that axe. Because even on the TV screen, which was showing the picture, the foveated rendering was working. And that
Yeah.
to me says that like of that is pretty cool.
And if it's done right, you don't notice it when you're in the headset.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's how Gran Turismo 7 can perform as well as it does, because it's using that foveated rendering. And there are times like if you're turning into a corner shop and there's a bunch of cars, you'll see it.
Yeah.
But otherwise it'll disappear.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can, if someone's streaming a game, because they generally use the secondary capture for the TV, if they're streaming from PSVR, you'll see it on a stream as well.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because it doesn't show people watching exactly what it can actually look like as well. It's interesting. But the other thing to bear in mind is like there's pixel persistence, and what that is how quickly a pixel can turn off and on, and the light can go, and that's where you get ghosting, because as you're moving, the pixels can't turn off quick enough. So
that's part of the problem with Horizon.
That's part of the problem with the PSVR 2
Yeah.
is you get pixel persistence, and the other thing is the Neewer, which is like a layer over the front. It looks like, which is
which is
odd.
Weird because
not everyone has it.
I don't have it.
No.
I can notice it. I can notice it in Resident Evil 7 because that is basically a dark game.
So
like
pixel persistence can actually, pixel persistence can actually be fixed by software. You can actually fix that.
So Indy,
firmware update can resolve that.
You did a lot of Resident Evil 7 Village streaming. Did you notice the mirror? We're gonna call it the mirror effect. That it is.
You'll notice it in the dark more than you will anywhere else.
Yeah, like in the dark and stuff. I did. It's weird because this headset seems to have a bit more. This one that I've got now with the second one seems like it's got a little bit more, but I haven't spent much time in it. It could just be that one. All I've had is cheap.
You put it on, you saw the dead pixel, and you just went ah.
I go. Yeah. But yeah, you do see it, but like Resident Evil Village looks so good, man. Like this looks so good.
Such a nice looking game.
Yeah, I'm really waiting to get the headset sorted out so I can play that again in like the hardest mode possible.
I do think Sony have missed a trick though with the PSVR 2, because it doesn't have any introduction to VR like they did before. So it's like they're just banking on previous customers who've had VR, and it's kind of like you kind of need that to entice people in. It's like, you know, there are 4 different demo discs that you could get on PSVR 1.
Yeah,
I think Mike from VR did a video about it, didn't he?
But you don't have that on PSVR 2. It's like, there you go, get on with it.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're brand new, that's not going to help you.
No.
Because we all remember our first time to play VR, and there were certain games where you're like, oh, you know, feeling a bit ill or whatever. I still have one game that does that to me now. There's one game and one game only. I think I'm pretty good with my VR legs, but there's one game that always like, oh no, the vomit comet, done.
Which is that?
It's Detached.
Well, I've never heard
There's
of
a
that.
game on PC VR called Detached. I challenge anyone who thinks they can survive anything in VR to play that for an hour.
I've played it for an hour. I played it for more than an hour. Yeah.
That is just it's well known throughout the community that everyone's just like, nope.
Don't forget though, he's Indian, so he's used to very spicy food, so his stomach is probably harder than all of us put together.
It's casual racism Mondays, everyone.
It is.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, I'd just like to point out here that I have actually been to Indy's house, and his dad did actually cook me a curry, and I did nearly die.
Some of my best friends are Indian. Yeah, great.
I did nearly die the next day.
This is racist. He doesn't have an index, Buck. What are we going to do with this guy?
But luckily, I was actually at Indy's house, so the toilet suffered, not me.
Nazis didn't walk in around Frank's house, did they? So, anyway, carry on.
She didn't live in a house. She lived in a little bit at the back of the
house.
The chimney.
It was still a house. Like this.
Okay, I'm not defending the Nazis. Please don't get on my case. Oh my God. How did that go so wrong so quickly? Oh my God.
This is what I do.
Yeah, excellent. This is great. So how are you going to resolve your PSVR 2 problem then, Indy?
Make a video of me setting it on fire.
I don't think that's going to help your warranty. I mean, I don't work in retail, but you know,
I need to read the terms and conditions, the small print first. I might get away with it. Just send them a big brick of coal in the box. No, I spoke to them today, and I just said, first I went for the refund, and then I spoke to Argos, and they were like, "Oh, because it's electrical, we can't do that. We had to send it to our experts." And so they probably had it themselves loads as well. So
some 18-year-old fresh out of college going, "Oh, I don't know what's the matter with it."
Yeah. So the only other option is Amazon, because they do not give a shit. They'll just be like, all right, send it back. Amazon, they're the best bet, but then I have to spend another 40 quid just to have that luxury of just switching it over. So,
and
I'd take it back to where you got it from.
Yeah.
That'd be your best bet.
It depends how flush you are. If you can afford to buy a new one in the meantime, because obviously we've talked about Firewall Ultra, but there is something else coming along which potentially is more
let's
exciting.
get those donations in so we can afford another one. Go on.
If not for me, for Indy.
second PSVR 2, so start raising.
Okay.
I want 10%.
Go fund me.
Okay?
Go fund me. I'm gonna start it, Indy. I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna start the GoFundMe. How do I do that? Oh my god.
No, that's for people in real need. And let's be fair, no one needs a PSVR 2. People would like a PSVR 2.
Yay!
There you go. There's $2. Yay!
Walking Dead. Walking Dead.
We were just we're taking the piss, mate.
Only $623 left to go, everyone.
I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll start drinking, right? So every time, we're not going to do that again. That Christmas podcast, we went from naught to drunk in like 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and yes. Well, you were drinking.
Yeah.
It was.
I wasn't that smashed though.
It was Power On. It was Power On that lost the plot when he actually ate the bread bun live on the live stream because he was just trying to soak the alcohol up. My God, that was so funny. Right, so your solution is you're going to send it back. You're going to wait. Hey, cha-ching!
Send it back to game.
Slow Coach and Zenquility. Thanks, Mindy. Nindy.
Mindy.
He does say strip for me, but he doesn't say who. So I'm staying back from that one.
Are you going to tell him the story about Mindy?
Yeah, so Mac met my cousin. Listen, Slow Coach, I really appreciate it. And Walking Dead and Zenquility. We're only joking, guys. You know what I mean? It's like
I'm not giving you money.
You can have it. You can have it.
No, I'm give you their money, not me.
They're expecting me to drink now, Mac. Off the back of that. Yeah.
Water.
What are you drinking?
Well, I'm not drinking.
Anyway, Mindy,
I'm not drinking to make you money. That's just the wrong thing.
I'm pimping you out.
You won't get much.
We met for my birthday. A little bit used. Went out for my birthday. Went out for my birthday for the whole weekend. Mac was calling my cousin Mindy, as in Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy.
He didn't.
Nanu.
That was quite funny. Yeah. Zach in VR.
And now it's stuck in my head. And every time I meet him, I'll still call him bloody Mindy. I'm sure he's forgiven me. Thank you, Walking Dead. I don't need a PlayStation VR 2. Mine's fine. It's right there. It's great.
I'm coming to your house.
You can give those $2 to Indy so we can get one.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. So let's move on because this is getting a bit silly. Pico. What's happening on Wednesday? Then he kicked me off Among Us. No. Nindy, I didn't. The problem was that you were too good and you actually made the live streams rubbish. Because you were like, oh, it's Mac. Oh, remember that? Who was that Russian twat? What was his name? HB. And there was like, we started the game and Nindy hit the button straight away. We were like, what what are you doing?
Breaches.
No, it was Among Us. And Nindy said, every time HB program, is the imposter, he turns the lights off. And we all were like, oh, okay, fair enough. And we ejected him. And he was right. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Like, oh, my God.
Well,
that,
he's threat. Yeah, go on.
That live stream just went downhill because Nindy was like, yeah, it's him. And it's him. And everybody was getting kicked out. And no, the imposters weren't winning. And it was just like, oh.
Yeah. He's trying to get back in. He's threatening. He was threatening yesterday to sell his Quest 2 because we never play with him.
Nindy, you need to dumb down, mate. That's what you need to do. Just need to dumb down.
Go play Gorilla Tag or something else. Stop fucking
with all the other kids.
Well, you said he was your friend.
He's my cousin.
Oh, okay. You don't have to like your family. That's full. That's fine.
But no choice, mate.
You don't get to choose them.
Yeah, so we're all meeting up on Wednesday. Yeah.
Pico. Yeah, we're all meeting up on Wednesday. So, yeah, we've got this relationship with Pico. Well, I have. Power On and Silver Tongue, who is in the chat somewhere. So we're going, because Pico are trying to sort of build up their live streaming platform to rival Twitch and YouTube.
Is this the platform that you can only watch in their headset?
Yes, currently. You can actually watch it if you log in to the browser on your phone as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Like so. Okay, you've got to imagine that this is massive in China. Okay.
All right.
So they are trying to.
To be fair, I'm massive in China, but that's because I'm 6 foot tall. So...
me and my wife went to China. Me and my wife went to China in 2006, and I took a photograph in a place called Xi'an. And my wife isn't. She's not particularly tall. She's only 5'6", but she was wearing heels. And I took this photograph looking back down the main street of Xi'an, and all you can see is this blonde head above all of these small black heads. I've got the photograph. Bear in mind,
I used to work with the Japanese for like 5 years.
Oh yeah, I worked for Fujitsu for
I just
for
looked
8
like
years. Yeah,
a lumbering Godzilla going through the office compared to the rest of them.
Yeah. with your blue hair as well.
Exactly. I wanted to do that on my last day. I actually wanted to get one of those inflatable dinosaur suits and run around the office going, oh, Godzilla!
You should have done it, mate. That'd be funny.
But apparently HR said it was frowned upon.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, you know.
Yeah, so we're going down to Pico, and I've been live streaming. Rob's been Silver Tongue Devil's been live streaming. Poweron's been live streaming on the Pico video app, and it does have problems. One of the main things is if you don't have a Pico headset, you can't watch anything. There are a load of issues.
That's a really weird choice.
Yes. So we're going down to talk to the Pico live streaming team to sort of suggest to them things that they need to change to make it better. Indy's going down as a viewer, even though he hasn't actually viewed anything yet. And we've got
I have 24 hours in which I need to view something.
And we've got Weeble, who people in my community will know quite well, people in Indy's community, Power On community, also Rob's community, Silver Tongue's community. We've got Beanie, who's one of Rob's friends, and we've got Fitz, our fantastic killer from Warzone. He's going to be there because he's watched quite a lot of my streams, and they're asking for feedback on how to improve the service, which is basically
make it work in a browser. Done. That's it.
Oh,
you can't compete.
Fuck!
You can't compete with the likes of YouTube and Twitch unless I can sit there and watch it either on my television or my PC.
Or your phone.
Really? Who watches streams on their phone?
Well, people who are at work might have a stream. I mean, on their phone, while have one of their favorite streamers on while they're just tapping. Yeah. So yeah. We are going to try and improve the service. So if you have any suggestions in chat, give us a shout out. We'll make a note. I'm going to say this, even though it's probably get me into trouble. Working with Pico is like pulling teeth. There's a lot of screaming and shouting, and there's blood on the floor.
Is it that bad?
Oh.
Do they not take constructive criticism well?
No, I'm gonna separate. There's two parts to this thing. There's the people I've been working with in Pico previously who are wonderful, and the people who they know who they are. The new section of Pico that I'm working with now is like put nails into a door and then constantly bang your head against that door for possibly 6 weeks.
Is it a cultural thing, do you think? Or is it...
I think, right, so I know what happened. Basically,
okay.
ByteDance bought Pico a couple of years ago, and ByteDance went, right, we want a slice of this VR action. And ByteDance have more money than anybody on Earth, probably even Jeff Bezos, and they threw money at the problem. And what happened was you had a lot of people got employed very, very quickly, and you know the problems that causes. Because obviously, if anybody doesn't know, our friend Buck3131 used to work for a Formula One team, and Formula One teams throw
engine
money.
Supplier.
Used to work for an engine supplier in Formula One, and Formula One's attitude to stuff is to throw money at it. What was the thing you said?
Just get it spent.
Just get it spent.
That was the mantra.
Yeah.
Just get it spent.
Get it spent. Doesn't matter.
I once signed off a purchase order for just over 5 million and no one blinked.
I've just nearly had a shit thinking about doing that. Buck was a NASCAR driver. That's what I heard.
No, not NASCAR. No, I worked in IT for Formula One for 5 years. So I used to do stuff at the factory, and I used to go trackside and set up all the racing stuff. So yeah.
Senor Shrimp VR said, "I want to hear all the F1 stories." Actually, you don't, because Buck told me a story about Honda once, and I was like,
let's not burn bridges because they're coming back, okay? I've already had phone calls actually from
really
high up. Yeah,
because you went away from Formula One because you said you needed a break. Out. Yeah, you needed a break.
I was burnt out.
It's the traveling.
It's not. It's an incredibly stressful position. I mean, if you bear in mind the deadline's a deadline, I can't phone up the FIA and go, "Can we delay the race an hour because my server's not working?" That's not going to happen. The race has to start. So it's like you've got to get it done. And the travel, it's like, don't get me wrong, I got to go to some amazing places. I got to see some amazing things I would never see anywhere else in any other career. I'm so grateful to be able to do that and have that on my CV. And having from being at the beginning for 5 years where the car was on fire every other race with McLaren to winning the world championship with Red Bull, which is, for 5 years from that to that is insane. And we worked our arse off to do it. And the travel, I mean, you don't even know what day it is a lot of the time because you're just like on a plane. I went to Japan and back in a day for a meeting.
Easy. That is what I was going to... That is what I was going to tell people.
Video conference, and they're like, no, it has to be in person. Cool. I got on a plane. I flew to Japan. The nice thing about Honda, anything over 4 hours, business class, lovely. Got on a plane, 17-hour flight to Japan, got off, got in a cab, got to the office with a bunch of other people, sat down, had a 5-hour meeting, finished, got back in the cab, got back on the plane, flew home. Didn't see anything else.
That's terrible.
So I've been to Japan. I have no idea what's there.
That's just... Oh my God. It's when you told me that story. So I was aware of you because of the people I know, like Dr. Oculus and Paradise and Daysnetic. I first met you at EGX, and the very first thing because I'm an old school Formula One fan. So when you said Honda, I was thinking back to McLaren days and Brawn.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking back to McLaren days.
It was BAR.
BAR. And you said, "Oh yeah, I work for Honda." And I was like, "Fucking hell, that was a long time ago." And you turned to me and you went, "I'm a fucking world champion. What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, Red Bull are using Honda engines these days." So yeah,
Technically, still are.
Technically
Still are.
really.
So Honda
It's in
decided to
development.
pull out of Formula One.
Yeah.
And Red Bull were like, crap, we don't have an engine. What can we do? So Red Bull decided, okay, we're going to build Red Bull Powertrain as a company, and we're going to build our own engine. So they call it a powertrain. It's 2 units, really. So you have the PU, which is the combined 2 units.
Yeah.
So you have the ICE, which is the internal combustion engine. Then you have the ERS system, which is the battery. And all of that ties together to make the power unit that goes in the back of the car. So Red Bull decided, okay, we're going to make our own engines. However, we haven't got enough time to build a new engine for the next season. So can we lease the engine from Honda until the engine regs change, and then in that time we can start developing our own engine for when the engine regs change? And Honda said, yeah, you can do that. However, and this was a very nice thing that Honda did, because again, Japanese, very honorable people in the way they behave and the way they look after their staff and everything. They said, yeah, you can do that, but you must employ all of our staff in Red Bull Powertrain. So I could have gone to Red Bull. I could have gone work for Red Bull.
Yeah,
I still talk to all the guys all the time, and I still get one of the head up in IT going, "Don't want to come back." And I'm like, "No."
So you can see Indy's eyes glazing over because obviously he's not a massive Formula One fan. So
I'm not. I just did it for 5 years. I don't really care.
Oh my God!
I paid attention to the races to know if I had a job on Monday. We're
very similar, Buck, in a lot of ways.
Right.
And,
so you 1973, Jackie Stewart won the Formula One World Championship. Right. I was 5 years old, and he was just the coolest man that was alive. And then in 1976, James Hunt won the World Championship, and then they went and made a film about it called Rush. And that was about my childhood. So, like, I have been a Formula One fan like since I was like a toddler, literally a toddler.
Not being funny. If there is enough interest and people want to hear Formula One stuff, maybe I'll do here are some F1 stories stream at some point.
Right, I will come and join you on that because I am a huge F1 geek. Huge.
I'm not saying I will, because again, my stream schedule is just gone at the moment. But
right. So the decision by PSVR 2 to not include VR in the F1 23 version when it's included in the PC VR version. What was going on there?
I know this as well.
Hey! Sorry, Indy.
When the last F1 game came out, F1 22. Which is all done by EA, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So EA and the team is EA with the publisher. Was it Codemasters who made the game? I can't remember.
Yeah, it is.
But basically, the in-house company did not do the VR. It was subbed out to a third-party company. So if you go to my channel, the pinned video on there at the moment is a F1 22 VR settings live stream.
Yes,
I spent an entire weekend going through every single setting in that game to work out how I can get that solid 90 frames, as I was talking about
PC.
Earlier, yeah, on PC.
Okay,
with my system. So obviously results were different, right?
Because you have a 3090.
And I did, after I figured it out, I did a live stream going through all of that to show the differences. Okay, wasn't a video. I did it live because I don't edit content because I'm lazy. I just hit a button, go, hello, let's go, let's see what happens. Go. I did it live. It's like 2 hours, this video, and it goes through every single setting. Right, the minute. So I finished it, tweeted out, people there, blah 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 blah. Came back. A guy got in touch over Twitter. Who's a guy named Charles Beshamin, who was the lead guy who did the VR conversion for it.
Cool.
And he was like, you've nailed everything apart from this. And I was like, oh, cool. And if you look in the comment, the first description, I've actually edited, I've put in there, actually, what I said here is wrong. This is what it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, so ignore that bit. Okay. So, but I got chatting to him. He's now actually working for NASA doing VR stuff. So the company that he had that he was doing that doesn't exist anymore. So I assumed that they didn't find another company that wanted to do VR for the PSVR version.
Yeah.
But they have done it for the PC. Because it is 2 different systems. So you've got to recode everything. Because again, the headsets work in very different ways. Steam VR is one thing, Oculus is one thing, so PSVR 2 is a different thing. The amount of development that goes behind it. Because the other thing as well, bear in mind, it's about money at the end of the day. Is the amount of money you're going to spend doing that, are you actually going to get the sales back out of it?
Yeah.
Because they know they're going to sell it anyway, because people love F1. So why should we waste our time sticking VR into it and that? Because we know this many headsets have sold. There's only a portion of that will be into racing, go on and so forth. So it doesn't make financial sense for them to do it.
Are you going to be the new Gran Turismo update today gives you a new car, and the movie's coming out, isn't it? Or the movie's out or something.
There is a movie.
Yeah. It's a true story as well.
Well,
based on a true story.
Oh god!
Thank you. No, that was a thing. There was a competition where the best Gran Turismo drivers can end up being actual race drivers. Couldn't care less.
Yeah, no, I don't give a shit. Right, yeah.
So I'm a big film guy as well. I watch a huge amount of films and can recall pretty much anything that I watch film wise for some reason. This one doesn't interest me. I'll catch it on streaming at some point.
What
It'll
you
be
mean?
a Sunday afternoon, and
Plucky
nothing else is on.
English guy playing video games gets a chance to drive a car and is thwarted by plucky German guy who's arrogant and blonde and with blue eyes.
If you change the races, you've just described Cool Runnings.
Yes. And
It's the
does
same film.
anybody remember an IndyCar film that Stallone did?
Yes.
And the bad guy was called Michael Schumanator or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was I'm very arrogant, and all of the names, all of the drivers were mixed up. Formula One IndyCar driver names.
So recently at Silverstone, Brad Pitt is filming a new film based on F1, and the storyline of the film is a bit on hold for the moment because of the writer's strike and all that sort of the actor strike. But the storyline of the film is an ex-retired F1 driver who's in his 50s is coming back, and I'm like, yeah, that's never going to win, mate. Like, never have seen it. That's never going to happen.
No.
But yeah,
unless it's Fernando Alonso. He's evergreen.
I've worked with Fernando Alonso.
What's he like as a person?
Because he was.
Look at Max getting
comment.
erect.
I am. Oh, sorry, you are. This is why we should talk about Formula One, because
That's a chat for offline. Yeah, I'm not going to get into personal details about people on live.
Okay, that's fine. Right, so we
fair.
need to go back to VR because we are in fact a VR podcast. So the one thing we didn't talk about was the elephant in the room when we were talking about Firewall Ultra. You see how I'm drawing it back here? See how I'm drawing it back
It's good.
into VR?
It's an impressive
Into VR.
segue.
It's almost
You've
as
done
if
this
I'm a
before.
professional, and I've done this before, and I can set my mic up and my camera indie.
Everything's fine for me.
Right.
All I did was turn up, and everything was fine. That's
exactly.
all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And he
I
can
wasn't
even
going, "Fuck
he
this,
can even
fuck that."
blur his background, and there's like a cattail occasionally goes across his screen. It's awesome.
I can change my background. It's not a problem. I can all of a sudden be in an X-wing. There
Excellent.
We go.
Right. So of the two games, I'm going to ask Indy first. Of the two games, Firewall Ultra or Crossfire Sierra Squad on PSVR 2, if you actually have a headset at that particular point in time when they release, which one are you more excited about?
Crossfire. That really. I had Firewall on the PSVR one. It was good. It was good fun, but it just looks like this. It's just not enough in this day and age. It's just not enough what they're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Buck.
I'm going to have to agree at the moment. I will be honest. I do have a code for Firewall. They were kind enough to send me one, mainly because of the amount of streaming I probably did of the original. That's what I think it was. But like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. But as we said earlier, co-op games are like my jam.
Yeah.
So Sierra Squad is probably the one that I will try more. And also, it's a new IP. It's something new.
Yeah, it is.
I
Actually,
like new things.
It isn't new. Crossfire isn't a new IP. It's new in VR. I'd just like to say, Paul from the VR Realms just jumped in. So, hello, mate. Obviously, we all know you very well.
Yeah.
Indy's interviewed you on his Neos podcast. Buck knows you very well, and so do I.
Yeah.
So welcome, my friend.
Well, me and Paul used to do a podcast together.
Yes.
So there was myself and Paul and Bol, who's a genius, and Dr. Oculus. So we did a VR podcast much like this. We were the VR
Hold on.
souls.
That's my Dr. Oculus impression.
Love him.
Hold on.
Love him.
Yeah.
Love Doc. He's amazing.
He is a lovely fellow. Oh, I actually have.
Got your mini Doc.
I've got my mini Doc. There
I
he
got
is.
a special one that had a mohawk.
Oh, cool. No, he's such a cool dude. Yeah, so, like, my opinion is I've never played Firewall Ultra, so, like, to me, the PvP stuff, yeah, okay, I like a PvP game, but if I'm going to do that, I'm probably going to play Pavlov, because that's the best PvP game on PSVR 2 at the moment. However, co-op with After the Fall, and like we played Rotten Apple, and we also played, what was that other one we played on PSVR 2 where you stuck it on hard and we didn't get anywhere? It was like the worst stream ever because we just ended up dying. It was another zombie shooter. What was it called?
We streamed it.
PSVR 2.
Survive.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've done the whole of Survive on PC.
Good.
Yeah,
Me and
we
Doc did the entire thing. We
so
streamed it.
What difficulty did you
Serge
play? Just out of
decided
interest.
no. So right, going in cold, Serge decided to put it on the hardest difficulty level and then try to explain the game to me as we got killed repeatedly. So
Okay.
so anyway, the point is that for me, so if you read the articles about Crossfire and the people who've played it, the single player campaign apparently is 5 hours long, which is fine.
Okay.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, that campaign was 5 hours long. I'm very happy about that. I
Yeah.
played it. I really enjoyed it. The co-op is over 16 hours and there are multiple difficulties. That is exciting for me. So you go and play a level on normal, then you get your mates together and you go back and play. So maybe there might be some kind of progression maybe with your weapons and armor. If that's the
Again,
thing.
they haven't really said.
No, they
about
haven't.
that
No,
sort
they
of
haven't.
Stuff yet,
But
which I'm they're not drip feeding enough stuff out.
no.
But there's a couple of games that aren't doing that at the minute.
Yeah. So After the Fall was really good. You know, you played
Yep.
on the harder difficulty levels. You upgraded your weapons. You died. You went back in. You played on the harder difficulty levels. And eventually you managed to beat the harder difficulty levels and your guns were really good. I'm hoping they're going to do that with Crossfire. So, you know, like beating the game on normal is going to be relatively fun experience, but beating the game on hard is going to be, you know, you have to have a decent squad and you have to have your weapons upgraded to get to this point in the game. That's what I'm hoping. So that's what I'm excited for. I'm not excited that much for Firewall Ultra. I will buy it and I will play it, but, you know, that's as it stands at the moment. Unless somebody gives me a key. This is my,
Look at me, man.
this is my
Get
give
on
me a
Twitter
key
and go
face.
Talk to David. Go and talk to David on Twitter.
I think, Crossfire definitely.
Yeah,
But I think with some updates, with a Firewall will be great with some updates.
yeah.
It will be great.
Excuse me a
I
second.
think it'll still be a good game.
Again, we don't know what's coming yet. It may turn up and everything's there because they did delay it. Remember, so it's kind of like, okay, maybe they've listened. We'll see.
I want a manual reload for sure.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
But Crossfire, I'll go straight in the hardest mode and just try and do it solo. I like doing shit like that. But
Fair enough. But I would say co-op stuff is always much more fun playing with your friends. It's like I'm not a fan of playing with randoms, to be fair.
Yeah.
I've met enough screaming children online that I don't need to do that anymore.
I used to do it for a laugh on Population 1, and
Right.
it was fine. But since they made it free, it's just daycare.
Yeah, I mean, this
Screaming.
was the other thing I said about like the Quest was like the best and the worst thing to happen to VR because we were kind of in our own little bubble. You know, everyone who was using it because it was quite a niche thing, and it still is a niche thing. But you knew that the people that were playing at that time were the people that really wanted to play and really wanted to do the good stuff. And now you get, 16-year-olds who tell you how VR works, and you're like, all right, mate, That's something like, I'm sure you know what you're talking about, but I really don't care. So that's
sorry, it's just it's something. You reminded me of something there that something that me and Serge did on a stream once, where we pretended to be noobs. So the first thing that would happen if you got like, because obviously it was me and you playing together.
pretend, you say.
Yes. So it was like me and Surge and Face, or it was like Crash or Lagatha, or like any number of like these amazing players. But if me and Surge are playing by ourselves, you'd always get like a random, and you'd be dropping in. So we're dropping in here. Okay. And then you get there. How do I reload my gun? And you'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake. So we did this stream once where we dropped in and we were like, how do I reload my gun? How do I do this? How do I do that? And this guy was like genuinely telling us, oh, right.
You
No,
would instantly be blocked.
This guy, he was like genuine. Remember, I think he was stoned as well. Do you remember? And he was like, oh, dude.
Acid.
Yeah.
The guy who was on acid.
Yeah.
Say, don't get me wrong. There are some really nice people out there as well. I'm not saying everyone's an arsehole.
So
in VR.
we were like, well, how do I reload my gun? But he's like, oh, dude, come behind this thing and like, this is how you reload your guns. And then like me and Serge just went on like a killing spree. We were like, oh, cheers for your advice, mate. And he was like, wow, dude, that was amazing. And he was dropping acid, or he was stoned, or something. I think you actually live streamed that one, and you made a short about it because it was so funny. It was just so funny.
I had loads of funny Pop 1 footage, but I didn't use it for so long. I just deleted it all. Some things I wish I didn't. There were some classic bits in there, but I couldn't be asked to go through them all, so I just deleted all of them.
Okay.
I have one thing that happened in VR that I wish one of us was recording when we were doing it. So we were in Zenith.
Okay.
You know, the MMO thing, and it was me, Mike from VR Oasis.
Okay.
And Reese the King.
Drop the names.
And the three of us were wandering about, and we were having a laugh and a joke with each other. And I turned to Mike at one point and said, oh, why don't you fuck off? And over there, this 11-year-old kid went, okay, sorry, and walked on. And I was like, oh, God, no. That sort of thing. And it's like, no, I didn't mean you. That sort of thing. And I'm just like, oh, no. And I've never heard Mike laugh so hard in his life for that one.
Oh,
Mac does that on purpose in Population 1.
Oh my God!
I've got some classic footage of Mac and kids and
that kid running around shouting at me, "Show me your pee-pee! Show me your pee-pee!"
Actually, it was Population 1. I was playing with Zim and Nathie, and obviously Nathie is like big for the kids with the content that he used to do. So you can't walk into Population 1 with him without being swarmed by children. And I'm like, I can't do this. That's sort of thing. It's like, sorry, Nathie, I appreciate this is your audience, but fuck this.
I'm out.
And then there were two.
Pretty much.
Oh my God.
It's like,
okay,
get another account, mate, please. I'm going to go and top up my drink. I'll be back in a second.
Okay, mate. Can you still hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a couple of things about the Quest 3 that have been confirmed. So these aren't really particularly interesting, but if you are into the Quest 3, there's been a US sort of governmental paper that's been confirmed that the Quest 3 will support Wi-Fi 6E. And if you're excited about that, don't be, because Wi-Fi 6E is no faster than Wi-Fi 6. It's just a protocol to allow your internet to be shared more efficiently.
But it has a higher frequency range, which means the bandwidth's better.
So
which means for streaming the content from your PC, it'll be a lot better.
I talked to Guy Godin from Virtual Desktop, and he said, unless you're doing that exact thing that you mentioned there, whether you are playing on Virtual Desktop and streaming at the same time.
If you want to use it as a wireless headset with your PC, it will be exceptional, provided you have Wi-Fi 6E at the other end.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it is exciting for me because I'm a content creator and also Buck and also indie. But if you are just playing using your Virtual Desktop, Wi-Fi 6E will make no difference at all. And I have actually done a video on it where I prove this point quite significantly. Go and check my channel out and search for Wi-Fi 6E. Roblox on Quest 2. Anybody?
So I downloaded it and then saw everyone complain that it was rubbish and then never fired it up. But I think Roblox is going to have the same issue that I have with stuff like VR chat and Neos, which is I don't have the time to find the things that are good. I don't want to walk through 500 worlds that are useless and find one that's fun. I'd rather let someone else do that and then go, this is good. Cool. I'll go and have a look at that now. Thanks.
Indie?
Yeah, that's Paul. Paul
You're
from the
the
VR realm.
Yeah, Paul from the VR realm was the
Neos.
guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Skiva as well. Skiva's big
Yeah.
in Neos as well. I mean, Skiva's big everywhere. We discussed that earlier.
Yeah, well, he is. He's like 8'6".
But yeah, that's my issue with that. is
Oh,
just
Paradise Decay's in my
don't have
chat.
the time.
Everybody say hello to Paradise.
Good old PD.
PD, how
Hey.
you doing, mate?
Everybody loves PD.
I was with him. Buckets of schmuck. Don't listen to him. Thanks,
Buckets-
Paul.
Buckets of
I
schmuck.
appreciate that. I just want to play the fun bits. I don't want to go hunting for all the worlds. I don't have the time to do that. I've got a life to lead. Sorry.
So we did a podcast with Paul, and obviously after he got banned from YouTube. Do you remember that?
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah, his whole channel got taken down. And
Oh,
he
yeah,
never
yeah.
really
So-
got an explanation why.
so we should. Do you want to talk about that? Because it could happen to me. It could happen to you. It could happen to Indy. It could happen to anybody. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, basically, something happened. We don't know what it was. He tried to get information about what it was, and they basically just tore his channel. That was it, gone. And he was like,
Overnight.
well, so all the content that he had all over the years, unless he had local recordings, gone. Every single stream, every single video he's ever made, gone. Just that, and that must be heartbreaking for a content creator to suddenly realize that all of that is just
Yeah.
gone.
'cause
It's like all the podcasts that we did; it was all on his channel.
Yeah. So we did
and
like
just
every like
gone.
so. I mean,
Which is why Paul's now on Twitch.
we tried. Yeah, we tried. We didn't understand what had happened. Obviously, Paul will
No.
say that we reached out to him and tried to get an explanation. He was like, "Now they've just said no, it's gone." So I think unless you're at 100,000 subs and you're verified, but this also happened to Linux Text Tips. If anybody remembers the video,
It can happen to anyone.
yeah, it can.
Linus's one though was he got hacked.
He got hacked and he didn't.
Someone got some social engineering done, and they managed to get into his account and change stuff.
Yeah,
That's
and
what that was.
he worked out what it was.
Yeah.
Basically, he'd logged into something. He'd logged into a browser on a public channel and hadn't logged out, and that's how they kept accessing his account.
So
Even
to
though
be
he
fair,
had, even though
that's
he had
on him.
2FA, it is. But still, I mean, somebody like Paul, who, if you know Paul, is the most I mean,
But
like I can be offensive.
Paul is the VR realm. Someone is asking. He's in
Yeah.
chat. You can
Yeah.
see Paul the VR realm.
Paul-
That's Paul.
So he had.
He's on Twitch. Go and subscribe to him. He's very good.
Go and subscribe to him right now. So he had a VR channel, and we had him on the podcast. Me and Indy, we did it in Neos. It was all good fun. He's a furry, and it was great.
He's not a furry. Don't call him that. He'll kill you.
There you go. So Paul has just said he was told it's gone and we won't talk to you again. That was it.
And his content is really not, like the stuff I do on a daily basis is much more than he does
But
in
the
a
thing
year.
is, we're not even sure if like someone else uploaded something else that did contravene all the rules and stuff. Again, we don't know. This is
I
the thing.
I did say to him that maybe someone's done something malicious because I didn't see.
It's possible.
The thing.
But
that-
to be fair, none of Paul's content was aggressive in any way towards anyone or anything like that.
But
It was always very, fun and easygoing, and
So this is one of the
But,
problems I
yeah.
had, because obviously I lost my access to my Quest. So if anybody doesn't know, I used to be a firefighter. So 2 years ago, I retired to go full time on YouTube. I didn't retire to go full time on YouTube. I retired and then went full time on YouTube because obviously I have the protection. I have a pension. So don't think I'm being some sort of martyr to sort of, yay, I'm going to pack in my job and go and do VR. Now I am financially secure, and YouTube is my other.
that'd be nice.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely. Trust me. You need to spend
You
30
can
years
buy
in service.
someone a PSVR 2 with all that money.
I could, yeah. You need to spend 30 years in service for your country, and then you can go and do what you want. Right. So, that aside, I retired on the Friday and got banned from Facebook on the Saturday morning for a very innocuous comment on a mate's post where he had a picture of a Nissan GTR, and I was like, oh, mate, you need to buy that. I think you need to sell a kidney. So that was it. Sell a kidney, bang, gone. Facebook, Quest, obviously at the time, your Meta account was linked to your Facebook account. It now isn't. So I lost, like, on the day I retired and went full time, the next day I lost access to my Quest, which at the time was the full, you know, that was basically,
that's all you had,
it was
wasn't
like
it?
80% of my content was Quest, because that, you know, the Quest 2 had just come out and it was like really exciting. So it took me 5 weeks to get my channel back. I just got an email, random email. I mean, I would like to point out here that Steve knows, Mike, Gamertag, Beardo Benjo, Paradise Decay, they all really tried to help me. Because obviously they were ambassadors, and they all reached out to their contacts and said, look, this guy's, you know, done this, done that. So 5 weeks later, I got an email saying, your account's been reactivated. Thank you. Okay, I've got access to my Quest. 5 weeks, mind. So you can imagine.
Did you sell a kidney to buy another one?
Yeah, please. So, like, after 5 weeks, I got access to my Quest 2 again, which is really annoying when you retire and then 5 weeks later you can actually start doing what you're supposed to be doing. But you could dig down into the layers and layers and layers, and I eventually found out that it was the kidney comment that actually got me banned. But with Paul, they just will not tell him why his channel got banned. I'm guessing
Done and dusted now.
I'm guessing he got hacked and they posted something horrible.
It's got to be something malicious.
So the thing is, right, there must be somebody. So this is all done by AI and bots. It's not done by a human being. There must be somebody who could look at Paul's channel and go, 300 or 400 videos posted, absolutely no problems. One day, this happened. That's an anomaly, right? That's an anomaly. So should we discount that anomaly?
It should be investigated properly. But again, YouTube are not very open in what their investigations entail.
No.
But at the same point, you don't pay for this service, and you don't pay for YouTube, do you?
I've got a premium account, yeah.
Sucker.
Buck, I'm going to explain something to you here. If you are getting paid by YouTube and you have a premium account, you get a cut of the premium money.
Cool.
No, I still get a cut of it. I get a cut of it, and I'm not a part. I don't do a premium. I get premium revenue still.
Oh fuck!
So as
anyway, I get no adverts, so fuck it. Hello. Why is everybody looking at me? Where are my trousers?
If you want to pay for premium, that's fine. Good for you.
I pay for
I'm very happy that you're financially stable.
Yeah,
as we've already in this economy.
Very expensive wine, probably about £350 a glass.
It's delivered on the back of a swan, doesn't it?
A swan? No, it's 2 turtle doves. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm not up with the current delivery methods of expensive wine.
What do you drink, Buck? What are you drinking? What are you drinking again?
I'm at the minute just water, but it was just Coke earlier. That's all.
Does anybody else find it really, really ironic that Kate Moss is now advertising Coke on the television?
To be honest, that's like a marketing genius.
It is. It's like the first time I saw the advert, I was like, whoever had the balls to put that one up there, well done.
Yeah, I mean that's like casting, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. We need a womanizing alcoholic.
Yes,
that'll do.
That's genius.
Because he was way before, but good for her.
So,
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Sorry.
Good.
talked about rope. Talked about. Oh, did you know the Quest, the original Quest, is actually 4 years old today?
Really today?
Yeah.
I never had
No.
used one. Never had experience
didn't.
one ever.
I gave my one away.
Yeah. I had one.
I had one.
I had one.
I bought my first Quest off of VR Bug, and 2 weeks later, no, I think it was 2 weeks later, was the announcement of the Quest 2.
Ooh.
Parasite just said, sorry, no, because Kelly Brook and Big Nasty advertised Slim Fast. Fuck's sake. Oh my God. What have we set up? This is not a VR related right, okay. Quest 4 is 4 years old today. I had one. I thought it was great. I kept it for a while. I used virtual desktop on it. That's when I first fell in love with virtual desktop.
Again, best and worst thing to happen to VR.
Yeah, absolutely. Then the Quest 2 came out. Was it 9 months later? Cheaper,
No, it must be
better.
longer than
No, you
It wasn't
will
long.
not believe.
Less than a year.
Yes, you will not believe how quickly the Quest 2 came out after the Quest.
All
I'm
right.
going to quickly check it here. Hold on.
It was
I was
really
gonna say,
quick. It
I'm
was.
not-
He's
It-
on the
well,
right.
honestly, it's
on the
not-
right
It
lines.
was 9 months.
9-10
Quest
months.
release date.
All right. So they laid a Quest 2 egg the minute the Quest came out. And
May 21st, 2019. Quest 2. Release date.
He's giving
October
it wrong, you
2020.
watch. All right, fine.
Yeah, people forget this. People forget.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, the Quest 3.
Sorry, I
the
was
Quest
too. I was too busy enjoying my index when that was happening.
Yeah. No. No, I can't even say that because I massively regret selling my index. I massively regret selling my index. The audio and the tracking.
Honestly,
oh,
it's like as much as I like the Quest and the Quest 2, it's like for live streaming, it's a pain in the ass.
Thank you.
oh, massive.
Piece of
It's an
shit.
absolute pain in the
Can't stand
ass.
it.
It's
Yeah.
like you have to work out the delay on the audio, you have to work out the delay on
Yes.
your camera, you have to do all of that.
Yes.
It's a huge amount of work. This is another thing that people don't realize about content creation is it's work, people. There is a lot of time and effort that goes into doing stuff so that it looks and sounds good. You don't just turn on a camera and a mic and go, here we are, which
I
is
did
what a
that
lot
today,
of the kids think.
I did
Well,
that
this
today.
is true,
Fuck
but you know,
off.
but
It took Indy 45 minutes to get ready. Like
get
me
ready.
and Buck, like went into the Discord chat. I'm like, all right, Buck. And he's like, all right, Mark, how you doing? Great. Where's Indy? 45 minutes. 2 minutes before we were due to start. Right, I'm sorted.
But for me, that was part of the fun of it. It was the technical challenge. That's what I really enjoyed. It's like, okay, how can I make that look good? How can I make this look good? How can I make that sound better?
Yeah.
How And
Yeah.
that was like my thing. That's what I really, really enjoyed. So yeah, but people forget it's work. It is work, and it's like when people say, "Oh, you know, find something you love and you'll never work a day in your life." No, it's called work for a reason.
Yes.
It's supposed to be difficult.
Yes. I've taken, like, over the last 6 weeks, I've taken a massive break from VR because there's certain other things going on in my life at the moment, which people who know me will know what they are, mostly to do with Pico. I've took a break from VR over the last 6 weeks, and I've just been playing flat screen games. And I've really enjoyed it because there's no hassle. There's no hassle in streaming a flat screen game. You just have your setup.
It's so much simpler.
You have this setup. I have this background. I have my camera here. I've got my. I've just muted there. You then have the game screen, and you just play it. And your chat window is there, and you can see people chatting, and you're like, "Oh, this is great! I can interact with my audience. It's amazing." VR, unless you're playing on PC and you have a chat window like Live or OVR,
Or you have a voice chat that's reading it back to you.
yes, or you have speech chat on, yes, what Buck said. But speech chat can be fucking annoying when you're concentrating on trying to win a race in AMS2 in Monaco, and people are going, "Oh, this is really cool, Mac. You're at Monaco," and you're like, "Fuck off," because I can't hear the revs on my car, and I don't know what time to change gear. And I'm just about to turn into Rascas, and somebody says,
Yeah, but
"Hey, Mac, been a subscriber for 15 years." Like,
yeah, but that's on you because you've decided to allow the chat to talk to you. So I
Yeah.
would say that's on you.
Yeah.
Just being
But-
And
around
you can
the
also
old buttons.
specify whether they can put stuff in chat that it doesn't read out. You can
Yeah.
set it that
Okay.
way as well.
But
So there are ways around it.
But if you're not specifically playing, if you're playing, like, so I have a headset that allows 2 inputs, so I can have my, exactly, the Arctis, So I do the same as you. So I've got speech chat running on the PC, and then I've got my game sound coming in from somewhere else. So but sometimes the game sound then drowns out what people are talking to you in chat, and you're like,
See, I
I'm
did
really
it a
sorry, I
different
can't hear
way.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did it a different way originally. I used to use Voice Meter, which is like a virtual mixing desk on your machine, and you can pipe things into different things and have the volumes just set for everything individually. It just makes life a lot easier. I literally spent, I think it was an hour with Boll where he taught me how to use Voice Meter, and then said, "Right, now show me how you do it." And he set it all up, got it perfect, and then wiped it and went, "Now show me how to do it, so you never have to bug me again." And I was like, "Cool." So we did it. But again, it's that was a technical challenge. How do we do this? What's the best way of doing it? And that sort of thing. But even simple things like changing your scene in OBS if you want to do that.
Yes.
So when I was doing live streaming, I would flick between me and the game, standing in the game with a live stream, to what I see, and it would flick between the scenes. But it's like, how do you do that when you're in VR? And I got round it by using so you can have like a foot pedal, and you literally slam the pedal when it changes the scene. That's one way of doing it. Another way I did it was using voice attack, which uses voice commands. So I would literally go scene 1, and it would change the scene and that. But again, the amount of time and effort you put in to set all these things up, and the amount of testing you have to do to make sure it's all good and done, it takes a long time.
And then speech chat stops working.
Yeah. And you
Randomly.
don't know that because your headset
because you're
is here, and
in
you can't see
VR.
what's going on. Yeah.
So if you watch any of
completely
my
agree.
if you watch any of my streams, I mean, Indy will attest, and he probably does the same thing. You're like, I haven't heard anything from speech chat for a while. Can somebody give me a shout out? I'm not being vain. I actually want to know that everything's
Just want to know
still
it's working.
working.
How many live streams have you done without realizing you've not turned on the mic?
Several. We've actually done
Right, there you go.
podcasts.
That's a simple one. My favorite
Look at
instance
Indy's face.
My favorite instance of this happening was Zim again, Zim Top 5.
Yeah.
He was doing a stream about something that was actually quite interesting because he likes the technical side as well. And we were like, "Oh, cool!" So we all got ready to go, and we're waiting. And he's usually a bit late anyway, so it's like 5 minutes and that.
Yeah.
And we're in chatting, and there's me chatting to Doc in chat while we're waiting for him, and it's like 15 minutes. And I typed, "How much do you want to bet he's hit record by accident and not go live?" Right? And then the next chat was him going, "Shit," because that's exactly what he did. And he's been chatting away for 5 minutes, for 15 minutes, thinking he's live. And because he can see chat talking, he thinks we're all, And it was like, no, you haven't seen any of that at all. And give him his due, he released that as a video to show warts and all what happens.
I've seen Mac. Instead of press record, he presses stream, and then he's like going through. He's recording his screen.
Oh yeah.
And then I call him. He would be like, "I say, Mac, you know your stream." He's like, "Oh shit,
I haven't done that for a while, mind."
Yeah, he's like, "Good thing I wasn't watching porn then." I was like, "Yeah."
So voice meter was one way of doing it. Paul has just said that OBS now has its own built-in audio splitter, so you can go through there.
Yeah. That is...
And if you're on Windows 11, Windows 11 has its own one as well.
Yeah. The so on OBS now. He says looking for OBS. It is called application. Fuck's sake, where is it?
Yeah, so you can pick the audio source from a specific application.
It's called audio input capture. So you can. So basically, now what I do is I split all of my audio. So I've got Discord chat, I've got speech chat, and I've got microphones and all that sort of Discord all split up now, and it makes it so much easier because you just mute them as you go along. But
So Parasite has just said he's like, Zim is such a legend. 1 minute he's running on UK time, and the next he's running on Canada time. Yeah. Substatica got to meet Zim in person a few weeks, but nice.
Oh,
That's
nice.
Cool. Was that, I guess
Substatica.
that's going to be in Canada then, because that's where Zim is now. Because he used to live in Scotland and now he lives over in Canada. But me and him used to do streaming together all the time. We would do a lot of co-streams, a lot of work together. Me and him host the race night together. We do a lot. Oh, you're in Toronto, because I went and stayed with Zim over that way as well, because he lives just outside Toronto.
Assassin just said, I like when Matt got pissed drunk and forgot to turn off his stream until sometime the next day. That was the Christmas stream. I didn't know how to turn my stream off, so I just turned my PC off, and apparently it just kept going until the next morning.
We had a guy fall asleep in a Discord with his headset still on, and we could hear him snoring for like 4 hours.
Oh yeah, that happened to me. I was playing some on Pop 1. I think it's me and you, Mac, wasn't it? Someone started snoring. That actually.
It was yeah. We're like, dude, are you all right? He's like,
Sim's fallen asleep on stream. I think he was playing one of those like the relaxation, the meditative things, and he literally fell asleep on the floor on his headset while he was doing it. And it was like, well, that's an advert if they want one, that sort of thing.
Right, so the
What
last thing I'd like to talk about is so it's been very quiet in VR recently. So we have, we talked about Firewall Ultra, we talked about Crossfire CO Squad and the PSVR 2. The next big thing to happen in VR is obviously going to be the Quest 3, which will be revealed or maybe leaked a week before, because that's normally what they do, at MetaConnect on the 27th of September, which isn't that far away. It's only like 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
So I know
it's interesting because MetaConnect always used to be an in-person event, and then obviously COVID knocked that on the head. So a lot of VR developers that I know were looking forward to actually getting together again in the real world, but they've really limited the amount of people that are actually going. So a lot of them are kind of like, it's not even worth asking. So everyone's going to be watching it online.
Okay. So as the Quest cynic in the room, Indy, are you excited for MetaConnect?
I'm more excited.
Is that true? Are you actually a cynic on the Quest?
I'm not a cynic. I just don't use it. I don't use my Quest. Yeah.
No, that's fair.
I
get it.
Yeah. Are you asking me if I'm going to get a Quest 3 or?
I'm just interested. Are you excited for Quest 3? Are you excited for anything Quest 3 is going to do? You think it's just an evolutionary move, or is it as a somebody's saying something funny in the chat and I've missed it, haven't I?
No,
not at all. It was just where you went, no. This just made me laugh.
I'm trying.
I just don't care.
You got to remember, we've got people watching. You need to be excited. Are you excited?
I can't fucking wait. It's going to be awesome.
Excellent.
I swear.
Should we do some Bible quotes?
I've been dreaming about it. I've been having wet dreams about the Quest 3. It's the best thing.
Yes.
I'm always interested in a new headset just to see what's available and what can be coming. Yeah. It's like I thought like the Apple thing is like, wow, that's really cool. I have no interest in owning one of those whatsoever.
Neither have I. Absolutely.
But for the Quest 3, for the price point that they're looking to go at, I think it's worth it. It'd be interesting to see. But again, as with anything, content is king.
It is.
If you haven't got the games to play or you haven't got the experiences that people want, no one's going to buy your headset.
No. The only thing I'm interested in is the Quest 3 going to be better than my Pico 4? Because my Pico 4 is the best headset I've got currently for standalone and PSVR, because it has the pancake lenses. It's got 110 degrees FOV. It's light. It's comfortable. It's got a great battery life. I've got the KREW BVR batteries that give it like 10,000 milliamp. They give it like 9 hours battery life, which is great if you're playing AMS.
Is that the same on the controllers?
Oh, no, man, the controllers last for 3 months. Right.
On one battery?
Right, okay, I'll show you this. I'll show you this. Can I do this? Yeah, okay. Right. So this is one of the things I love about the Pico 4, right? Just click that little thing there. Pull it out. There's your batteries.
Oh, it's got a proper battery.
Two
pack
AA's.
so you can...
But when you put it back,
Uh-huh.
loads like a gun. And that's just the coolest thing ever. And
okay,
that's me putting my ProTube VR controller things back on. It's that easy.
I know Borin, actually, who runs ProTube. French guy, nice lad.
He is.
He
Lives in
joins us on our
Marseille.
race nights.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful man. Massive fan of the Renault 5 Turbo because he kept sending me pictures of the one he got in Gran Turismo. And I was like,
yeah, I know. Yeah, I think the Quest 3 also needs some killer launch title for it as well. And I know people are like,
which
cautiously...
brings us to our next point.
I didn't finish with my thoughts of the Quest 3.
Sorry.
Oh, we do
No,
apologize.
Sorry, Buck. You're fine. It's Mac. It's always Mac.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah. The reason I'm not really interested is because I don't use my Quest 2.
Yeah.
I don't use it, and I've got PSVR 2 and I've got PCVR. I just don't see the. If there was a game and the gameplay was fucking out of this world, I would use it more. But there's just nothing for me really. I know Asgard's Wrath 3.
2.
It's coming out.
2.
2. Yeah, 2. Yeah.
That's on the Quest 4.
2.
I still need to finish the first one. I've got to start again. But
Oh wow.
I just feel like when I saw it, I was just like, oh man, the best part about that
It
game
looked
was
very
graphic.
empty.
Yeah. Asgard's
No,
Wrath.
Oh,
So
that is
good.
that is like so. Asgard's Wrath on Oculus PC VR
It was only PCVR as well.
was one of the is still
Even today. it
even
was great.
today is one of the best games. It's
That's
massive.
interesting because
I've-
I've heard quite the opposite from quite a few people.
No, I've put about 50 hours into Asgard's Wrath.
No,
And it
I've heard a
gets
lot of people going, no, it's
better.
style over substance. There's
No.
nothing there.
No,
But no, I've never played it, so I can't say.
Yeah.
So, but I just find it really interesting how
it,
different
it-
people's
yeah,
opinions
okay,
on the
it's-
same thing really, and that's great. I think that's good.
It depends on your. I'm one of those people who like to play a game where you look at your upgrade tree and you go, "Am I going to go stealth? Am I going to go tank? Am I
Sure.
going to go rogue?" And Assassin's Creed, fucking Asgard's Wrath has that, but it's like more sort of magical, and then you can build your beasts up. Serge is laughing at me. Fuck off. I've put 50 hours. No, actually, I put more than that in. I've only started playing Asgard's Wrath again recently, and I put about 50 hours in on streams and various playthroughs. So when Asgard's Wrath was announced for Quest 3, I was very excited, but like you said,
It
right,
looked very
okay.
empty.
Have you played Into the Radius on PC? Like specifically on PC?
Yes,
Right. How good is that game?
it's very good.
Okay.
If that's the sort of game you like,
If that's the game. So
that's,
have you
that's
played
a real
it?
caveat with that one.
Yeah, it is. Okay. But it looks great. And the guns
It
are
looks
amazing.
great. It plays very well. There's a very small amount of jank, is
Yeah.
the phrase that I will use. But it behaves itself really well. It's if you like that sort of game,
What's the
it's
difference
perfect.
between the PC VR version and the Quest 2 version? Because
I have
I've
no
played
idea.
both. Actually, I've actually played the Quest. I've actually played PC VR, Quest, and Pico version.
Mhm.
The standalone versions look empty. It's the same game,
But
has the
still, it can't do
same
it.
content, it has the same gameplay. There's no difference in gameplay between the PC VR version and the Quest 2 version and the Pico 4 version. The problem is it looks terrible on Quest 2. And I think that's what you're alluding to, is that Asgard's Wrath on PC
So it wasn't that it looked terrible.
played well.
It looked fine for a Quest. I'm talking about Asgard's Wrath. Sorry.
Okay.
So Asgard's Wrath 2 is looking on the Quest. It wasn't that it looked terrible. It looked fine, but it looked empty.
Yeah.
There wasn't stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, hang on, I thought this was supposed to be a highly detailed world with lots of things. And it's like, I can see like 3 enemies, but in that one, I saw like 50.
Yeah.
The fuck? Like, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I understand it's a limitation of the headset and what it can do. That's fair enough.
There's a level that I got to, and I can't remember the name of the enemy you're fighting against, but you're basically in this huge bell tower. And I was looking up and there was these golden figures and everything was super decorated. And I was like, whoa, my God, this is incredible. And basically I'm only running a 2080 Ti on my PC. So it's not like a, not like a high end RTX, 4090 or anything like that. And then I saw, Asgard's Wrath will stand on its gameplay. It's all about the magic and the enemies and the comrades you have and how you sort of balance the combat. But I didn't have that wow factor.
See, I would also say, from my point of view, graphics aren't everything. If a game plays really well and it's fun, it doesn't have to look great. I mean, look at Minecraft. Minecraft is like one of the most popular games in the world. It looks like crap.
But Into the Radius,
but people love it because of what you can do with it.
Into the Radius on Quest 2 was just as good as the PC version, but would I choose to play the PC version or the Quest 2 version?
Yeah, but then you got to remember, most of the Quest 2 owners don't have the option.
This is the thing. We're kind of spoiled, because we live in this world. Yeah. We're in the bubble. And it's kind of like I was saying earlier, is like I'd like to choose between 1990 and 120. Most people ain't going to know what that is, but we've been through this. We started a lot before everyone else. We've had PCVR. We know what we can do with that to change things and make things better and looking better and that. But someone with a Quest, I'm willing to bet your average Quest user is a kid. Yeah, mum and dad have gone, happy Christmas, there you go. And that's it. And they don't care about that. They just put it on and go, wow, I'm in this amazing place, which is great. And
then you get the video come out where the kid gets the Pico 4 and he's going,
yeah,
you've
but
seen that video.
Is that generation are the one who are going to make the next generation of games.
Yeah.
So you want them to be into it. So otherwise, we're not going to get the stuff.
Yeah, you've got to remember, so I'm obviously old. So I started playing video games in 1977 when it was like literally Pong.
That's the year I was born.
I wasn't even born then.
Yes. And this is why you need to listen to me. So Pong was the first game I ever played. And then it was in 1977 or 1978, we went to Miami Airport to go to Disney World. And there was this machine which had a queue. And it was called Defender.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I queued. And I put my what they call 20 cents in the US? 20 cents?
Quarter. It's 25 cents.
Yeah, quarter. Put a quarter in. Played it. Hooked. Done. So, going back to VR, one of the first VR games I played was Lone Echo, which unfortunately fucking spoilt me forever.
I was going to say, that's a good one to start.
Oh, my God.
That's get your VR legs quick in that.
That was like 2017, and they haven't... There's few games that have topped that. I mean, Half-Life Alyx, blah, 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 blah.
So what headset did you start with?
Rift S. Rift.
Rift S, okay.
Rift. No.
So
Rift.
my first headset was the PSVR.
Okay,
the first PSVR.
Yeah. That was 2016, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I'm getting the dates right.
Yeah, so again, I'm kind of a late bloomer to VR compared to a lot of other people that I know who started with like the CV1 and the DK1 or the DK2 and that sort of thing. So, we're relatively late to the scene compared to a lot of people. But yeah, it's interesting.
So one of the things I found really interesting is that when I took my break, which I haven't quite decided when I'm not going to be on a break, I played a lot of flat screen games. So I played like Call of Duty, like the campaign. I played Ratchet and Clank. I played.
I love Ratchet and Clank games.
Oh my God! I played a lot of Halo. And we
love Ratchet and Clank.
And the problem is we don't have these 20, 30, 40 hour games.
I don't think we need them.
No, I think you do. Right, so Ratchet and Clank, you can pile through Ratchet and Clank in 10 hours if you want to, on average difficulty. Right, I've live streamed Ratchet and Clank on the Pico platform, on the Pico video platform, for about 30 hours now, and I've played through the game on normal. I'm now playing it through on hard, and there's no way that I would do that in any VR game at the moment.
No,
because there's not the interest, you know, apart from like Half-Life Alyx. And I mean, like, I know Serge is going to say about the hard mode for Half-Life Alyx, which you are determined to play through.
Yeah,
have you not beat it in hard?
Yeah, I beat it in hard, but I always play games in hard. But what I didn't finish was, what I didn't even start was the game plus with all those harder enemies and mods and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
so what I'm trying to say is there's no 30, 40 hour experiences in VR that will draw you in. And I think it's a budget thing.
Think of the cost.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, think of the cost of what it takes to create that level of stuff. And it just doesn't happen. I mean, you know, so someone, actually, that's really good, Moby's Gaming has suggested Skyrim VR, which, but that wasn't a VR game, was it? It was a flat screen game that was converted to VR. So we don't have our own thing, is I think what Mac is really saying.
Well, we do. We have Skyrim. We have Half-Life Alyx, which has been modded to fuck. Leviathan.
Yeah, but Half-Life Alyx is an 8-hour game, start to finish.
Yeah.
It's not your 30-hour game, but what that did was show what is possible.
Yes,
and it's like, okay, that's the bar now. Crack on. Yeah. But that's what happened with Half-Life Alyx.
And then Red Matter. I think the only game that came close to it was Red Matter 2.
I would say Saints and Sinners would be the next.
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh God. Oh my God! I put so much time into Saints and Sinners. I forgot about that.
Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners would be like, if you're looking for a story-driven, high-end experience, I would say Saints and Sinners would be the next one.
Yeah.
And I don't think anything has come close to that.
It's like the sequel yet, even so.
No,
you're talking about the second one, the first one.
I've not even finished the first one. I should hand my VR.
Oh, dude, I played the fuck out the first one, and then I played about 4 hours of Retribution and thought, nah, lazy. Using the same.
Dip is asking in chat, has anyone played Vertigo 2? Again, that's another high-end one, and considering that's all made by one guy, that's impressive.
A brilliant game. Never played
it.
Though.
It's really good.
I even love
it's amazing. So Vertigo 2 is fantastic.
That's on my list.
Really good. Yeah. Really impressed. Yeah, I would highly recommend that. But again, it's what do you want? Because different people want different things. So it's like, traditionally, story is what drags me into a game.
Yeah.
If I'm hooked by the story, I'll continue and go, I want to find out what happens, and being that sort of thing. When you start to care about characters and events and that sort of thing and that. But at the same time, I've sunk over 600 hours into Elite Dangerous.
I stopped.
Where I'm essentially being a truck driver in space.
I stopped after about 200 hours because I bought the. I did exactly what you did, Buck. Right? I was like, this is amazing in VR. Elite Dangerous in VR it's
just stunning.
It's an I bought the transport vehicle, had the bubble. Sort of.
I've
cockpit.
got a whole fleet, mate.
Oh well.
So depending on what I want to do, I've got a ship ready to go.
And I knew what I wanted. I wanted like the sort of the ship that was like a decent fighter, but also had the decent capacity. I can't even remember what it was called. So I spent
probably the Viper Mark IV.
Yes, I think the Viper. Yeah, I think that actually rings a bell. So I spent so much time grinding to buy it, and then realized that to fully upgrade it, I'd have to grind 4 times more than I'd already ground. And I was like,
but you've got to engineer stuff. So you've got to go and do what the engineers want you to do again. No. But again, all of that is optional. You don't have to do it. What Elite Dangerous does is it goes, there's the Milky Way, off you go. And it doesn't hold your hand at all.
No,
and I quite like that, because it's like flying a spaceship should be difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I every single year I have a birthday party, and my friends come round and we get into the VR. And my lovely friend Chris Wakeham, who's the most wonderful man in the whole world, and he was like, "Can you show me Elite Dangerous?" I was like, "Yeah, of course I can." So I put him into my premium ship, which was about to dock, and he didn't know the controls.
Oh, I see where this is going.
And I was like,
there's a phrase for Elite Dangerous, which is, don't fly what you can't rebuy.
Exactly. And I was like, yeah, Chris, can you just, I was like, in the end, I was like, headset off, pause. Now, sorry, mate. And he was like, what? I was like, you're about to crash my fucking baby into a space station, and it isn't insured. So,
but it like I say, for me, it's like story, or it's that kind of sim level experience. It's like, I thought Star Wars Squadrons in VR was like ultimate child wish fulfillment. I grew up playing X-Wing and TIE Fighter and that, and to have a proper HOTAS.
There's the cat tail. There it is.
The cat. This is Myra, everyone. This is my baby.
We were expecting the cat tail anytime.
So I told you she'd turn up at some point.
I actually made a video
sim stuff. So like, I never liked driving games until I got VR. Never couldn't get into it. I played Burnout, and that's about it. But the ability in VR in driving games to do that is enough to sell me. That's all I needed, apparently. But yeah. And then, again, I fell down the sim racing pitfall. So I've got the seat, as you can see next to me. I've got the Fanatec kit. I've got a wind simulator, so that it blows wind at me when I, depending on how fast the car is going. And this is the problem: is once you get into it, it becomes a money pit. But I don't regret. There's only one thing I regret spending money on VR wise, and that was I bought everything else. Quite happy with. Really happy with what I got for the money. I bought a Vive Pro on day one, which was £950 just for the headset. So there's no lighthouses, there's no controllers, nothing. That's the only regret I have. But it served me well. It was a good headset for a while. The mic on it was trash.
Paul loves the old Vives, doesn't he?
He does, and to me, like I say, they are really good. They're really good headsets. They've gone downhill a lot recently with the other things they're trying to do, but HTC tend to focus more on a commercial market than they do on a consumer market.
Yeah.
But again, if you want something for home, go buy a Quest. It's as simple as that, really. For the money, you can't do any better for the money. You seriously, for the money, you can't do any better. I would also say, for the money, you cannot come close to the experience that the PSVR 2 gives you on PC VR if you're spending the same amount of money. My graphics card cost more than a PSVR and a PS5.
I completely agree with you.
So you can't get anywhere close to it.
I tried to put this point across. I tried to put this point across, and I got fucking slammed on YouTube. And I said, basically... Because, and also, just for the plug and play, so I have a GT.
That's the reason we moved to Gran Turismo.
I have a GT.
It's no hassle.
I have a GT Diddy Pro. I've got a PSVR 2, and there's my PS5. And what happens is, I plug that into that, and I plug that into that, and I put my headset on,
and it works.
And I then start racing.
Yeah, so the biggest barrier for anyone trying VR...
That looked like you had a tail there for a moment.
Yeah, I know. The biggest barrier for VR for anyone is getting someone to put it on their face in the first place.
Yeah.
Because people just don't want to do it, which is fair enough. And okay, you don't want to do it. But then becomes the cost sort of thing. And then it's like, we all know, to get certain PC games running right, you got to spend a lot of time fiddling around with settings and this, that, and thing. You don't do that with the PlayStation. You just plug it in and it works. So the barrier to entry has just radically dropped.
Yeah, especially when I do like a lot of indie game stuff, and
Yeah.
I even played the game recently that ran fine. As soon as I streamed it, it just tanked to shit, and it's like I can handle it, like, but you know, all the reprojection stuff is really bad. And because I thought I've already started the stream, might as well carry it on. But with the PSVR 2, that's the one thing I noticed. I put it on to stream. Obviously, you need the capture card, right? Which is minor. It's just one extra thing. And I just pressed stream, and I was like, "Oh, that's so easy. It's so easy."
Yeah, it is.
But again, we're looking at it from a creation perspective.
Yeah.
If you're looking at it from the standard consumer, they don't want to go through all that hassle with anything. They want to turn it on, plug it in, and go.
Yeah.
And that's what you get with a Quest, and that's what you get with a PSVR 2.
It is, yeah. It absolutely is. Yeah, I mean, Gran Turismo 7 on a PlayStation VR 2 was a massive revelation for me because, like you said, if you have a GTDD Pro, here's a tip for you. Don't plug it into the USB port on the front of your PSVR 2 because that's a USB 2. Plug it into the back of your PlayStation because that's a USB 3. So you'll get less. You will get a more smooth experience. I'm not going to say less, more latency.
The Fanatec, or the
If you have a Fanatec, plug it into the back of your PSVR 2 because they are.
It's only the DD. The rest of them work fine on USB 2, but the DD works better on USB 3.
Yeah, because everyone's saying to me to get one, and who watches my stuff. I will eventually.
Have you ever tried it in VR with a wheel and pedals? Okay,
I did it once.
Tell you now.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you now. Don't unless you want to start spending lots of money. Because the minute you try it, because it was like I remember. So I started off with a Logitech G29, which is like the wheel everyone starts with, which you can buy relatively cheaply.
I started with the Thrustmaster 300.
Yeah, and they're like 150 quid.
TX or something,
it's like, okay, that's not too much.
Yeah.
And then you try a Fanatec piece of equipment and you go,
oh.
This is like, and the amount of feel and difference you get. The biggest difference was the pedals.
Yeah.
Because it's like the brake pedal in the Logitech just felt like an on-off switch compared to the level of control you had on the Fanatec stuff. It was
Fanatec
insane.
has that load cell, and it's just like you have the. Oh my god!
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
But I warn you now. You try it and you'll get.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, because I know if I try it, I know that already.
This is the thing.
I know. Yeah.
Thrustmaster sounds like a sex toy.
Well,
says India.
I think, like even like in an arcade, if I went to play in an arcade and they had a VR sim, I'd have to stay away from it. But then there's always that thing pushing you towards it, and it's going to cost me a few grand in the end, isn't it? Getting all this stuff together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's not cheap.
But don't expect to be faster with the wheel and pedals straight away.
Got to build your muscle memory.
Oh my god! Yep. Like I was like, oh, I'll buy a sim rig and I'll buy a steering wheel and I'll buy pedals, and I was shit because you suddenly then take over changing gear, and that is a big thing. Braking, and remember to like bum.
It's like when I said I had the G29, the minute I moved to the Fanatec kit, I was initially slower because I had to learn how to use that kit properly.
Yeah.
So it's all muscle memory. That's why when people build their sim rigs, they build them so they don't move. Yeah. Because you don't want your seat moving around when you're so all your muscles are in the same place when you're driving, so everything feels the same every single time. Someone gets in my sim rig and moves the seat, I get really annoyed because it's set for me.
It's like your car, isn't it? It's like I've got my car perfectly set up for me. I've got the heel and toe perfectly aligned, and then when I take my car to the garage, the guy who tests my car after it's been fixed is like 6'4", and he always moves my seat back and tips it in the wrong direction, and it takes me ages to get my car back to the seat position where I know that my heel and toe and my clutch foot is going to work properly. And that's exactly the same with my sim rig. If anybody moves my seat, fucking hell.
What would you say to me if I got the sim the wheel and the
Bug.
pedals, and I still played race cars in automatic mode.
That's
It's
fine.
fine. That's
It's up
up
to
to
you.
you. You wouldn't.
You'd be faster if
You, honestly, you wouldn't because
Yeah.
you'd start to learn.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Because I used to play that way, but then when I get into it, it's like, oh, now I can learn this. Now I can.
yeah.
Okay, now it
start
makes
coming,
more
you
sense.
start coming out of
It's
corners in
much
the
better
wrong
doing
gear
that way.
Yeah.
because obviously
It-
the game changes the gear for you to think what you're. It doesn't look at the
Ooh.
corner.
There's a good question. Assassin 32 VR said, if you were to start
Oh.
sim racing today, what equipment would you get?
Cheap.
I'm gonna mute you for this bit because I don't want to hear it.
I would
So-
go. Like I'm a Thrustmaster
I-
guy, so I'd probably go something like TX with the 2 pedals, and maybe an Omega GT racing seat. Keep it.
Depends on your budget.
It
I would
does.
say a good
Fuck.
start is a G29
Yeah.
or a G20, and you can pick them up secondhand for next to nothing. I would say
Yeah.
that's a good start.
I'm a Thrustmaster guy, so I go for the TX with the
Yeah.
with the brake pedal, brake
Yeah.
accelerator. Don't bother with the clutch because you're going to be changing gear with the paddles.
Disgusting.
I'll go for whatever the cheapest thing is in Argos.
And
There you go.
Honestly, secondhand G29. Seriously, just look at Facebook Marketplace or something where
Does
they're
that
selling
come with
secondhand ones. You'll be
pedals as
fine.
well? Or was
Yep.
that just the wheel?
yeah, yeah.
That comes in pedals. Will not
Accelerator
come with a
brake.
shifter, but you've got the flappy pedals, but you can buy a shifter separately. But honestly, just look for a secondhand G29 that's been looked after and you'll be fine. It's a good start.
I hate you both.
Or a TX.
Hey,
Because
you're
I'm
a
a
grown man
Thrustmaster
and you
guy.
can make your own decisions.
He's not
I'm
a
saying
grown
you
man.
have to do
He's
this.
only 40 years old. He's a child.
That's grown enough. No, a G29 is quite good because the other thing with the G29 is it works on PC and PlayStation. Because
Okay.
the G27 doesn't.
And the
That
TX
only works with Xbox. And
TX
PC.
only works with Xbox and PC. So yeah,
Yeah,
go for the G29 because it will work with PlayStation. So you could use it
you've
on
got to be
your
careful.
PSVR 2.
Making sure that it will work with PlayStation as well if you want to use it with that. So, for example, there are different wheelbases you can buy in the Fanatec world. Some work with PlayStation, some don't. The PlayStation ones tend to cost a bit more, but that's because they have to license it from PlayStation
Because
in
they have
order
to have
to
that
make it
chip in,
work.
don't they? Parasite
Yeah.
just said
But there is a way
Indy
around it.
Indy wants the Fisher Price version of sim rigs. There is a way around it with the little
Yeah.
dongle thing, isn't there?
In all seriousness, if you're ever round my way and you want to
Where are
try
you
it, you're
again?
more than welcome. I'm in Bedfordshire,
Where the fuck is that?
Milton
Is that
Keynes
Midlands?
way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah. Oh,
So
I'm in,
near Milton Keynes. That's I'm in Bedford itself, but it's Milton Keynes is like
I've got short
Junction
little stumpy
13
legs.
of the M1.
He's got
I've
short,
got short little
stumpy
stumpy
legs.
legs. Can I adjust the seat?
Yeah, that's fine.
And got short arms. I need
I'll
to
let
change the wheel
you.
up and
How's
down.
that? I'll let you adjust the seat. That'll be fine.
I appreciate it, mate. If I am in town,
No, seriously, I'm more than happy if you ever want to try it. Not a problem at all.
thanks, man.
I had VR Bug drive all the way from his place to come and try it.
And
And I
did he get the
record it.
bug?
I'll even record you all the footage you want. So if you want to do it, so you can go and do a video. Quite happy to do that.
Oh, cheers, man.
It's only because he knows that if he wants to come and try my sim rig, it's a 5-hour drive.
Yeah, Mac lives miles away.
I do.
But yeah,
I,
my
I,
chat
I live
saying-
in the real England up north, where it's really nice.
Well, my wheel fund is about a tenner now, so £290.
Here's the
a day.
problem.
it's actually at
okay?
£12.
So what happens is with the Fanatec stuff, you can do this. So I had this steering wheel that came with it, okay? But then that wasn't good enough because I was playing the F1 game. So then I bought that one because you can just swap it now. and it again, slippery slope.
This is
I have a wind simulator for Christ's sake. Like,
this is
Yeah, I
this
saw
is
that
the
in the
steering
photos.
wheel that I bought. This is the F355 GT for the Thrustmaster TX, and I loved it because it's a proper round wheel, not one of those fucking shit ones. And it has it's got the. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Proper
Fanatec actually do a
my
BMW steering
God.
wheel that you can put in an actual BMW. You can click it into an actual BMW.
Doesn't have any indicator stalks then.
No. They're on the actual drive up. But yeah,
They don't
seriously,
use them.
I warn you now. That's all I'm saying.
It's a pit. If you enjoy
You're
GT7,
more than welcome to try it.
it's a pit.
Yeah. Turn me into a bloody addict, like a little. Give my first.
What happened to me? Honestly, it's what happened to me.
Yeah, it's what happened to me. Yeah, I started off with the Xbox 360 wheel. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it broke and I was gutted and I couldn't get another one. So I bought the TX for my Xbox One X, I think, or something, my Xbox One, I can't remember. And that survived for like 5 or 6 years and then ended up with the
Well, I'd
Fanatec
say for me,
GT2 Pro.
it's either story games that drag me in where the story really good, or it's a sim thing.
Yeah.
So it's either
Where I can just
racing or
do
flying.
laps, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the problem. Everyone's set on me getting it now. That's it.
Well, we've already discussed if people wish for you to use, they can support the channel and donate to help you buy these things.
Exactly. Or they could go to Buck's house and try out his sim rig because he's just advertised that on the internet.
Well, I haven't advertised everyone. That was specifically for indie.
I'm coming down.
You're not
I've already
coming.
got one.
No, I didn't invite you. You live north of the Watford Gap. You're not allowed to.
I live north of the wall,
So-
mate. I live north of the
I
fucking
know
wall.
you do.
The
I
winter,
know.
yeah. He's,
There's the reason. There's
I've
a
got
wall there,
family
mate.
up in Sunderland, so I know where you are. Yeah.
Is there anything else, Mackie?
I'm just
on the
thinking
list?
that. Yeah, I think we've had a good stream. It's been good fun. Anybody want?
Thank you very much for inviting me along. I really appreciate it.
Well, if you have
I hope
anything you would like to say to end the stream,
I'm-
because it's been quiet. It's been very quiet.
I mean, does anyone in chat have any questions? I suppose is the main thing. Is there anything
Yeah.
that they want to know? I mean, I'm quite happy to answer what I
This is
can.
AMA.
Oh my
Ask
God,
whatever you want.
Buck AMA.
you know.
No, he doesn't do anal.
How do you know
Oh, thank you, Simon. You're a man who has incredibly bad taste. Buck is such a cool guy too. Not really. Nice. Thank you, Petey. That's appreciated.
Assassin said if he leaves
now, I'll
Buck's
be there on Thursday.
yeah, because he lives
That's
in like
fine. No,
California
but-
or somewhere.
Like I say, if people want to get a hold of me, I'm on Twitter under Buck3131. If you got any questions or any tips you want to know or anything, just reach out. I'm more than happy to answer. If you're a cunt, you'll be told. But apart from that, you're all good.
Make sure you go to his channel, Buck3131, and subscribe.
It's,
Make sure you go to
it's a
Indie
light
VR's
at
channel.
the minute, so please don't
No,
expect
just
any
subscribe.
real content at the moment.
Just
And I
subscribe.
appreciate it. I've not even broken 500 subs. Right, I've not done that. When do I think I'm going to stream again? I don't like to say at the moment because I can't guarantee, and I don't want to say I'm going to do something when I'm not. But I will always put it out on Twitter if I'm going to stream something before I do it. It will probably be on the day. Like I say, I didn't. The last thing I actually streamed was Synapse, and the only reason was that it was the one thing that I played recently that excited me, and I was like, "Yeah, I think people should see this." And that was my first ever streaming PlayStation VR2 via the PC, because usually I just use the native app when I did a test for GT7 with the native app on the thing just to see what it looked like. But yeah, if something comes up that looks fun and I think people will enjoy watching it and it enthuses me, I do this as a hobby. I don't do it to earn money. I don't do it for clout. I don't do anything. I do it because it's fun. For me, it was a good way to hang out with friends, play games, and if anyone wants to come along for the ride, you're more than welcome.
Paradise Decay is also blowing smoke up your ass, by the way.
Is
On
he?
my
What's
chat.
he saying?
Mac, you should have Buck on more often. Sound geezer.
Well, I was
And
with
that's from
PD
the Sound
Doc
Geezer.
a few weeks ago. I got invited to go to Zero Latency, which is an arena scale VR place where
Yeah,
they
we
were
saw that,
testing
yeah.
out a new tournament system for a game called Soul Raiders, where you're in a massive area and you run around with your headset on and that against another team. And Doc and PD both live up north compared to me, and they always come down. They always come down south because that's where the things are like EGX. And I said, no, we'll go to the one in Manchester. I'll come up to you because you don't have to travel as far then. So I drove up to Manchester, and we went and played that for a few hours. We came second in the tournament, which was first loser. Well done. But it was really good. We had a really, really good time.
Okay, right. So, Serge, got anything else you want to say?
No, I'm just,
hiding behind your
posting...
massive blue microphone.
I'm just putting Buck's Twitter on everyone's in the chat and your chat as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
I should probably do that myself.
Let me get your twat. I said a Twitter. I said
Twitter.
It's not Twitter now either.
Twitter, it's X
is what we're doing because Space Karen wants it to sound like a 90s nightclub. That's what it looks like now, that logo.
Anything else to say? No, cheers. Thanks for coming on, Buck. It's been great. It's the first time I've actually met you. I did make a very good first impression with my my
incompetence
skills.
All we've got to start somewhere, mate. It's fine. Your name's in the book.
If anybody missed it, me and Buck were like, joined the Discord chat. Buck was like, "Hi, Mark, how you doing?" I was like, "Hi, Buck, how you doing? Where's Indy?" And then we had this brown screen. Then we had the Oh my god! We've only been doing the podcast for 2 years.
It's like because I've done the streaming for a long time, I know how to quickly set and done. So it was kind of like, that's on. There's the light. That's fine. Because it's all about, with everything with this, especially with the camera, it's all about lighting. This is not ideal in my mind, but it's fine for what we're doing. And again, with the audio is fine, but it's kind of like, okay, that's good. That looks all right. Fine. Gone. Hi, done. And then it's like, and now I can change these things using the Nvidia broadcast. And that sort of
which
stuff.
We are now going to start using, I must admit. It's amazing.
Honestly, it hides a wealth of sins, Nvidia broadcast. If your card is up to it and it can handle it, particularly with a microphone, it really smooths things out and gets rid of room echo and all that sort of stuff. But again, as I said before, the streaming side, it was the technical challenge that I enjoyed. So that's why I know all of these things and I spent lots of time researching them all. And only less than 500 subs. That's what happens, people.
Yeah.
Put all that time in and no one gives a toss.
Subscribe to his channel. Come on, people. Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone in my chat is going to go and subscribe to you. If not, they're going to get kicked out.
Well, if people do, I really appreciate it. Please don't expect anything anytime soon.
This is not why Buck was on. This is not why Buck was on the podcast to get subs. Buck was on the podcast because I met him at EGX last year. And I thought, yeah, that's the guy I want to get on the podcast because he's opinionated and he's got knowledge. So that's why you were invited on. Wasn't just because a random sort of comment on the chat and you were actually controlling the chat last minute of the podcast. But thank you for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Top guy. Go and subscribe. Buck3131, Twitter.
I've just subscribed. There you go.
Indy.
I didn't realize I was.
I know. I think Parasite has seen me before on Zoom streams because we used to do a lot of stuff together. So yeah, he did mention that in the chat. I think he's like, "Oh, I recognise that voice." Or something.
So we need to get another 46 subscribers.
Doesn't recognise the hair though, because you're quite sedate.
I'll do you do. If I hit 500, I'll do a stream of something.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, guys. All right, so I'm going to close my stream down. So I don't know what Indy's going to do, but I'm going to close it down. So yeah, thanks for watching. Go and subscribe to Buck. Go and subscribe to Indy. Go and subscribe to me. We are the Virtually Rek't podcast. Thank you for joining the REKIN crew. And I am out of here once I figure out where my stop streaming button is.
Cheers, Buck.
Cheers, bye. Mate. Cheers, Buck.
Boys.
Cheers, Indy.
I'll leave the stream going so you guys can have a little chinwag.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, don't forget, I've got the VRcade podcast tomorrow, which is basically